This episode of Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops is brought to you by zenpop.jp. Use the link in our description for $5 off your next order by using the code GRAPPLE.
Welcome everyone to another very special interview episode of Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. I am Chris Dredd. I'm here with my main man, JB. How you doing, man? You feeling a bit worse for wear after the weekend of debauchery, or you feeling all right, fam?
It was a mad weekend up north for me. I am fighting fit. I'm feeling fine.
Do you know what you need? You need a bit of ICO Pro, bruv.
I think
maybe you could
send me off to the bathroom real quick.
Need some ICO Pro. This is get on Redbubble and check out Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast on there. This is the ICO Pro Jacked Awards hoodie. You could be repping like a champ. But anyway, enough of the cheap pops and plugs. JB, we've got another. We were supposed to do another review, and we've got another interview ready, lined up, bro.
Man, this is again, these come out of absolutely nowhere. As always, we send out our links and our chats and our hopes and our dreams, and people get back to us.
They do.
People want to set the record straight on what other people have said.
That's correct, actually.
This is where we are at this stage. And what else can we say? You know, this next guest is he's not going to take it easy.
He ain't. I think he's got a lot to say, and we fucking love it. We cannot wait. He has been there, done that, got the specific T-shirt.
Absolutely.
So, without further ado, man, I think, what do you reckon? Get into it, bruv.
Let's get this party started.
Yeah, baby. Welcome, everyone, to another very special episode of Chat Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. I am Chris Dredd. I'm here with my main man, JB, and today we've got a very, very special guest, and we are blessed to have him give us some of his time today. He is a WWE Wrestlemania main eventer. He is a Slammy Award winner. He's also worked with other promotions, big ones like 01, Lucha Underground, Glow, and he's got his own podcast as well now, Life After 3. We are here with the incredible Marty Elias. Thank you, Marty, for joining us today, bud.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. You know, like I said, you know, in our pre-talk, you know, I really don't do a lot of podcast interviews, and the fact, you know, that I'm starting mine up, or, you know, I'm 5 episodes in right now. You know, I'm getting pretty accustomed to it, and I'm enjoying it. And, you know, I really have some things to say. I mean, you know, at this point, you know, I'm not looking to go back to WWE. I'm not looking to join any other promotion out there. And, you know, let's be quite frank, I could give a flying fuck about AEW. I mean, really? So, yeah, so I'm good, man. I'm good. And again, I don't want people to, when they see this, I don't want people to take the impression, you know, that I'm disgruntled or I hate the business, because I don't. I embrace it today. Did I hate the business? Absolutely. You know, a lot of people involved with professional wrestling hate the business for what it is and what it's done. But again, I've moved on for that, and I was able to go and achieve some cool stuff, you know, post WWE. And you know, seeing what the landscape is today with professional wrestling, it's not a place I want to be, and it's not a place, you know, that I feel that I need to go take my talents there again, because I already achieved what I wanted to achieve in professional wrestling. And nobody's ever going to take that away from me, and nobody's ever going to, you know, outdo me. So, you know, for all the haters and people who doubt it, or even people today, there are companies, you know, who think that, you know, I don't have any value, they can go fuck themselves. Real simple.
Oh, yeah. Man, that is, yeah. Perfect way to start.
Start.
Yeah. Marty, I went back and I decided to watch. I'm diving straight into this one. I watched that match from WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. You, of course, were refereeing. Now, my main takeaway from watching it before talking to you, because I ended up watching you quite a bit more than the match itself, there was one spot in particular that just encapsulated the perfect like refereeing move. There was a crossface spot that was going on. Michaels had Undertaker in a crossface, and they shifted a little bit to I think it was their left or Undertaker's left. And instead of you cutting across in front of the hard camera, you went around them and stayed right off camera. Like that was just, for me, that was the best, like that was the perfect spot, because right now, referees on other shows will prance freely in front of that hard camera, block off the visuals and the facials of, the people working in the ring. And I thought, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And
thank you.
I had to
thank you.
I had to say it, otherwise I'd, get annoyed that I didn't.
I really appreciate you noticing my work. And I say that loosely, work, because that's pretty much what we're doing. We're working. I was trained properly. I was trained correctly. And that was one of the things, that you really had to get in your head, is that you're working a hard camera. And, you only have these two sides, you have the back, but then the front always stayed open. And unfortunately, some people, kids or up and coming referees, or people who assume they're referees, they're not being taught that, unfortunately. They're not being taught how to work and how to be a great referee, unfortunately. I had the privilege and honor of working with a lot of the greats like Taker and Shawn and things of that nature. And I learned and I listened. And when I got into this business, I didn't get in to be rich and famous. I got in to be the best in-ring performer I could be. And if you see my career, my body of work, I think I achieved that. And I achieved something, that nobody can ever take away from me. And the fact, that I'll forever be tied to Taker and Shawn, not a bad thing to be tied to.
Definitely not. I mean, again, Jordan saying we watch it, because when we have people on the podcast, we always go back and we watch bits and bobs that they've done, matches or promos or whatever. And it's quite strange kind of to watch a match and kind of focus on the referee, because a lot of the time your work goes unnoticed, but until you've got a shit referee, then you notice how bad it is. But
which there's plenty of those on TV today.
Oh, dude, fuck! I mean, there's specific ones that don't warrant action figures, but do have action figures. But
oh man,
yeah, I mean, you only notice the referee really when they're doing a bad job. So when you're doing a good job like it kind of goes unnoticed, which I suppose is the point, though, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing that kids don't understand today, and I'm going to say that word a lot, kids, because obviously they don't know how to work. But the thing is, in order to be a great referee, you need to be there but not be there. And I don't think that's being ingrained into these up and coming kids, or these potential referees. When you're a referee like that, it's not about you getting yourself over, Aubrey. It's not about getting your shit in, Aubrey. Because look, you're there to enhance the match. You're not there to take away from it. You're not there to take away from the boys. People aren't fucking paying to see Marty Elias. They're not paying to see fucking Aubrey. And that's the thing. And again, it's a different time. But when I broke into the business, you were taught that this is the way you do it. And unfortunately, people aren't training like that today. And it's sad, because I know for a fact that a lot of the trainers at these companies, whether it be WWE or AEW, well, AEW in general, Tony Khan doesn't give a flying fuck about referees. That's why they do whatever. And I know this personally, because I've been told that from QT Marshall and a few other people. And he just doesn't care. but that's all on him. And that's what happens when you're a fucking mark with money. You really don't care except getting your shit in. But that's here or there. But when I broke in, I was taught the right way. I broke in with Jesse Hernandez in Southern California, School of Hard Knocks. And he taught me the basics because he was old school. And I'm really blessed and honored that I was able to get that tail end of the old school, because that's been ingrained in me and that's how I roll. And a lot of people today in those companies can't handle old school because they think it's irrelevant or it didn't matter. But again, professional wrestling has had a formula, just like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and such, that formula just continues to go, make its way. And that's what you do. But unfortunately, that formula in professional wrestling has been thrown out the window, and everybody wants to get their shit in today and nobody wants to work. So is it a sad thing? Yeah. But again, they have people there training up and coming wrestlers and referees that have never been to the show themselves. They've been in indie darlings. And there's one guy that I know who is there with WWE, and I know for a fact that he treats people like shit, and that's Pat Buck. Because I've actually seen emails and correspondence. So he's training people and he's booking people for NXT and stuff, and he has never made it to the show. So how can you have somebody like a Pat Buck who has never worked a WrestleMania, he's never worked a Monday Night Raw, he's never been on the road, and he's done what he's done. I don't know really what he's done, but again, how can you have somebody like that teaching people WrestleMania or Monday Night Raw or SmackDown when you yourself have never ever done it? And the reason I bring that up is because if I was going in for surgery, brain surgery, which everybody knows that I've been kicked in the head a lot. If I was going in for brain surgery, I would want a doctor with 30 years experience. He's won awards. He's well known. His reputation precedes him. Okay, that's cool. But why would I want to have a guy with 3 or 4 years in who's maybe done 50 operations at best, and he hasn't really been in the shit of things, and I don't know how he's going to react. But I know the guy with 30 years who's a teacher, who's got these certifications and has all these accolades, that's the guy that I want working on me. And the same thing holds true for professional wrestling. So why would you have an indie darling, indie-tastic guy or girls who have never really done anything training these kids how to be WWE superstars or AEW, whatever? It just doesn't make sense to me. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just changed. And unfortunately, they're allowing these things. And the reason I say that is because Jim Cornette always says it best. And I live by this too. Professional wrestling was a lot better when the marks were on the other side of the guardrail. Now the marks are behind the scenes, and that's not helping anybody. So there you go.
I mean, you're right. And the thing that specifically annoys me and Jordan, that we've spoke about with AEW particularly, is they do have a few guys that do have that experience in the company, but they seem to just be fucking ignoring them, or the guys who are there just think, fuck it, I just want to keep getting my paycheck. I'm not going to rock the boat. You've got guys that have got huge amounts of experience there behind the scenes, but it just seems like you say, certain people are running the show that don't really know about the show.
Amen.
It's crazy. I mean, I wanted to ask you as well. We saw there was a ladder match in AEW the other week, and it was Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. And in that match, the referees I'm sure you might tell us that it happened in WWE, but we never saw it, and that was how it's meant to be. But they were like actively holding the ladders while spots were going on, so the ladders weren't falling over and stuff. But it wasn't like the wrestler said, "Hey man, hold this ladder for me," and then they went and held the ladder. It was like you know, the way they did it, it was like it was scripted and they knew what was going to happen and they were blatantly holding these ladders for these spots. I mean, what do you think about that kind of thing?
I myself have been guilty of holding a ladder or a table or something in position, but here's the thing. It's all about timing. It's all about when you do it and how you do it. And you need to do it in a way where you're not distracting or taken away from it, that you do it very subtly. And if you go back at Lucha Underground, because I watched some Lucha Underground matches, which I haven't watched in 5 years. There was the All Night Long with Johnny Mundo and Willie Mack. And there was a spot where Willie was going to go up and do the frog splash off of the top of the ladder. And I remember watching that, and I remember shooting that and doing it, is that it was all about the timing. And I knew when to be there and how I needed to hold it. But I wasn't there physically wrapped like this around the fucking ladder and holding it up and looking it up, making sure the guy's doing the spot. It's a very subtle art form. And unfortunately, the art form that I was taught by a lot of the greats, that's lost now, because people are, again, trying to get their shit in and look at me, look at two and all this shit, you know? So it's a matter of training. It's a matter of learning how to do your craft the right way. And unfortunately, people aren't learning the craft the right way. And I don't see professional wrestling anymore. So I hear things and I get clips now and then from people who send it to me who want my opinion privately, which I do give. But I actually sat down and watched AEW last Wednesday. And holy shit, man, I was fucking embarrassed. And I was terrified at where the business is today, and the fact that these fucking yahoos are getting away with calling this professional wrestling. And to me, it's a complete insult. And you were mentioning referees, and Rick Knox, who I love to death, and who I actually hired for Lucha Underground. Thank you very much. He did a tag team with Penta and Pac, and it was against Brody King and somebody else, some other big dude with the sweat and, you know, the tattoos and rah, those type of guys. Fuck, we've seen it all. Okay. So they went out to the crowd, and they were out there for God knows how fucking long. And they're just doing whatever they're doing. And then they come back into the ring. And then 30 seconds later, I think it was Brody King who had Penta in the corner, and he was, you know, choking him, or he had his, and Knox starts fucking counting 1, 2. And I go, Rick, what the fuck are you doing? You let these guys run fucking wild out in the stands and didn't do a fucking thing about it. But yet you come into the ring 30 seconds later and somebody's in the corner and you're giving them a 5 count. Does that make fucking sense? No. But again, it's just going back to the mentality of where people are and allowing this shit to happen. And, you know, it's sad, because I know that there's some really good dudes there, agent wise, like Jake and Billy Gunn. And I know Chavo was there for a minute. Jericho's there, you know, so a lot of these guys should know these things, but I really feel AEW at this point, for those guys, is just they're collecting a fucking big paycheck from an owner, Mark, who is glad to have them around. And, you know, fuck, man, why are they going to ruffle feathers? Fuck, I'm getting a great fucking fat paycheck. You know, why am I going to say anything? I'm ready to fucking retire. And unfortunately, that's the gist of it. I can only give my opinion of that because I'm not there. But from being somebody who's been in the business for a long time and knowing how people think and what their MOs are, it's kind of sad, you know, to see that's allowed. And, you know, it's being allowed in WWE, AEW, NWA, MLW, and all these other companies. And the fact, you know, that they're allowing this, to me, it doesn't give professional wrestling the validity or the credibility that it once had. And the fact that, you know, guys like myself and Chavo and Bob Hawley and Paul Roma and Al Snow, we don't have jobs at these companies because we're the old school guys. And a lot of these guys have egos and are so sensitive and don't have fucking thick skin that guys like us are intimidating to those type of guys, because they want to go do fucking Circus Soleil and flippity doodah and collect a paycheck, that they really don't give a fuck about the art form or the craft anymore. You know, to them, it's just, we're doing it and we're going to do it however we want to now. And that's a thing for me being involved with the business, is that at a certain point, Vince McMahon would always pull in the reins and say, no, you're not going to do that. You know, and they had agents there like, what the fuck are you trying to put in this match? And it was like that. But now it just seems, from what I've heard and been told, is that there's no agents at AEW, and everybody kind of has like a free for all to go do their shit. And when you don't have any type of quality assurance, I call it, you know, where anybody's like checking the boxes, so to speak, to make sure that these matches are going to be what they're going to be, it's really fucking sad. And watching AEW last week, there was, I think, 3 different spots on the apron with I guess it was Moxie, is that his name?
Moxley,
yeah, against some guy that replaced Spanky because Spanky made some comments or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like 10 minutes into their match, they did a spot off of the ring apron. And then it was Nyla Rose working, I think, Ruby Riott or somebody. And again, 5 minutes into their match, boom, they do one. Same exact fucking spot. And then Punk and the MJ dude, they do a fucking spot. So there's 3 of these spots on the same show. And I looked at that as like, who the fuck is monitoring these things, man? Because that was always an unwritten rule with the agents and the boys, is that, you know, people that were doing certain things, you made sure that nobody else was going to do what you were doing, especially on TV. And there's where producers, you know, would get together, and whether it be Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, Dean Malenko, whatever, you know, like they would always converse and communicate, you know, that what was happening, and making sure that Joe Blow over here wasn't doing that. And when I seen that on AEW Dynamite, I went, who the fuck is, you know, keeping an eye on the fucking hen house, man? Nobody is. It's like the inmates are running the asylum again. And it's funny because people ask me my opinion about AEW, and to me, AEW is WCW 2.0. That's exactly what it fucking is. And, you know, Vince has been doing this a long fucking time. And the fact that Tony Khan and everybody thinks that they're, you know, gonna be that number one, come on, this is Vince McMahon you're fucking talking about, man. Never, ever fucking count Vince McMahon out, even today. So there you go.
I think you're right as well. I mean, we heard comments from Big Swole, who worked at AEW, and she said that literally it was like a free-for-all. So you've just got the boys just basically chipping in and saying, right, we're going to do this, 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 and this.
WCW.
That's right. You know, there's no script writers, there's no match agents, there's nothing like that. So you're right. That is why it is like the inmates ruling the asylum at the moment.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, they can say all they want about AEW, but you know, Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon. WWE is WWE. I mean, you know, he's been doing this a long fucking time, and trust me, there's been a lot of companies or marks with money who have come in to try to do things, and even Impact, who was TNA when they tried their shit and stuff. And you know, never ever count WWE or Vince McMahon out, because Vince knows what the fuck he's doing. You know, I mean, Vince McMahon has been running a successful company conglomerate for years and years and years. Tony Khan is a smart guy, from what I've been told, and you know, he's a very good human being. From what I've told, he takes care of the boys, which is God love him for that. But you can't come in and compete. I mean, for example, you can't come in and compete with somebody like McDonald's if you're a hometown fucking hamburger stand. It's not going to fucking happen, man. You know, because people know that brand and that product, and they know, you know, the logos and things like that. So when people hear WWE, they automatically gravitate to it because they know there's where Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold, The Rock were. But when you say AEW, you go, oh yeah, that's that new thing with that guy whose dad owns the Jaguars, who were the shits, by the way, too. So, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Thank you very much.
Marty, I've got a couple of points to add to your points that you've just made.
Sure.
The ladder spots in particular, the AEW ones, was that possibly down to bad camera work and production?
Yeah, yeah. And it goes back to knowing where you're going to be. And here's the thing, too, that people don't understand. The reason why that kind of shit happens is because in WWE, when I was there, and I'm not talking about today, or what AEW is doing today, because I don't fucking know and I'm not there. But from my time and being a referee involved with those type of ladder matches at WWE and Lucha Underground and other promotions that I worked for, agents would always smarten up the camera guys. The camera guys always knew when certain spots were coming and where they needed to be. So, for example, when Willie Mack when he climbed to the top of the ladder, he was going to frog splash. The camera guys kind of went up. What they did is they started down and they came up. So did you see a glance of me? Yeah, but I wasn't hugging the fucking ladder. I was holding it very subtly, and I knew where the cameras were. And that's the other thing too that is a lost start by these referees who think they're referees on television today. They don't fucking know where the cameras are. You always need to know where your hard camera is and your handhelds around the ring. You always need to do that. Photographers included, because you never want to be that guy whose ass is right in front of a fucking great shot. You never wanted to be that guy. And you always needed to know where the camera guys were. And it was cool because in WWE, we got along with our camera guys. We used to party with our camera guys. It was Marty, it was Stewie, and it was Rico. And these guys were fucking amazing, man. We got along with them. They knew where they had to be, and they would even smarten us up at times because we'd be in the ring or doing stuff, and like Marty Miller go, "Hey kid, move, kid, move. I gotta get my shot." And so oh fuck, man, and we would work like that, and we communicated. But again, from what I seen from AEW the other night, and maybe I just seen one bad show, probably not. I went, wow, man, nobody's shown these guys how to do this the right way. And like I said, I was traumatized. I mean, I really, really was traumatized after watching it because, like I said, I don't watch AEW, I don't watch WWE, I don't watch NXT. I got friends and people who are still in the business who text me or they'll call me and say, "Hey, man, this happened. What do you think?" So I'll tell them. So if that was an off night for AEW, maybe I caught an off night, but from what I've gathered, that's the fucking norm.
Yeah, it is the norm, unfortunately.
Wow.
One more point to make on this refereeing thing. I know you mentioned Rick Knox's, night with the tag team. We went to a show a little while ago in, local show here in the UK in St Albans. Mm-hmm. And the main event, the two tag teams decided to brawl straight away before the bell even sounded. They went in and amongst the crowd, but the referee was chasing it the whole time to the point where, the microphone was grabbed and it said, right, they need to return to the ring in 30 seconds or I'm throwing the whole thing out. Like, is that something that could have been done to maybe restore the order and make it look like Rick was back in charge?
No, from what I've seen AEW and from what I've heard and what I've been told, Tony Khan don't give a fuck about referees. That's just a fact, and I've been told that personally by people there. So I know that for a fact. But here's my thing. I love Rick Knox to death. He's a great human being, but one of the things, that I would suggest to Rick Knox is that make sure that he's getting with the boys in advance, because here's the other thing that I noticed with AEW too. They don't announce the matches. They just announce Pentagon versus these guys and that guy and everything. So they're not saying if it's a DQ, a time limit or nothing like that. I mean, if the match is going to go gaga outside like that, then I really feel the announcers should really acknowledge that. And one of the things that we did at Lucha Underground to get away with that is that we would have Matt Stryker and we would have Vampiro say, at the referee's discretion, so that gave the audience the knowledge that, oh shit, Marty's going to let this go. He's going to let them fucking kick ass in that. But when they get in the ring, what else is going to happen? So we always gave that explanation when we did, gaga outside of the ring, is that Stryker would say, At the referee's discretion tonight, Marty Elias is really going to allow this to happen. And per Dario Cueto, so we would always put the heat somewhere else. And it's sad because seeing Knox today and seeing the other referees that they have there, these guys are getting heat all over the place because, and again, what's fucking heat? You know, somebody saying they're mad at you. Yeah, fuck off.
I mean, for example, a match like Shawn Michaels versus Taker at WrestleMania 25.
I was there.
Yeah, I'm that you guys would have had a pretty lengthy conversation backstage about how the match was going to go, things that were going to happen. I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't have just been out there not knowing what the fuck, how everything was going to go, because, you know, it seems like that's what's happening nowadays, specifically with AEW, though. I don't know how much the referees, and like you say, if Tony Khan doesn't particularly give a shit about the refs and the refs are kind of just like a third wheel, you know, they're an integral, referees are an integral part of the match and the story. Like WrestleMania 25. You were dragged, pulled by Shawn Michaels, pushed against the side, and then he pulled the cameraman across, which I want to speak to you about as well. But absolutely. I mean, you know, stuff like that, it has to be right, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're not having those conversations before, I mean, you're not going to be able to do that well on the fly. I'm sure you have to do some stuff on the fly, but
absolutely. There's a lot of that happens on the fly, but if you don't know how to do it on the fly and you allow people to bury you, and that's the thing that I tell new kids today and people who ask for my opinion of stuff, the only person who's going to bury me in a match is me, you know, because if guys are doing gaga and shit, because here's the thing, if I was at AEW and they pulled that shit on me on TV, I'd have count motherfuckers out. Real fucking simple. Don't fucking ever try and shit on me. Don't ever try and bury me. I've worked too fucking hard in this business to make a name for myself, to fucking work all these great things that I've done because I worked my ass off. And then I'm gonna let some fucking guy come in and bury me. Fuck you. I'm burying myself. Okay, that's it. And when you do that, and again, I did that kind of shit at WWE. And I remember there was a house show. And again, I'm going to jump around and give you guys some fucking cool stories.
Love it.
we were working a loop. And if people don't know what a loop is, especially the newbies and the AEW kids, a loop is when you start on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, do TV, do SmackDown, then you go home. So yeah, you're doing 4 or 5. So that's a loop. And the loop could be in Florida, it could be in Canada, it could be on the West Coast, it could be in Chicago. So we did loops. So anyways, we were on a loop, and it was the Hardys when they were the tag champs, and they were running against Cade and Murdoch. And Cade and Murdoch, I fucking love those motherfuckers to death. And Lance Cade was one of my best friends in the business. I was actually a pallbearer at his funeral, and I miss that motherfucker today, man. So he was a good dude. But they were working. And it was the first night of them with their program because they had planted the seed at TV that Monday and Tuesday. So then Friday, we were going to start with Cade and Murdoch versus the Hardys and running for a pay-per-view, because that's what you did back then. You know, you always build shit up. You know, you just didn't throw it out there. So we were in the match, and it was maybe 3 minutes in, and Jeff went up, and he was on Trevor's shoulders, and he's wiggling. Trevor's got him like this. So Jeff comes down and does a fucking roll through like a schoolboy, goes through, and he has him, and he's on top of him. And I fucking go 1, 2, 3, and Murdoch kicks out, man. But I already counted 3, and I'm fucking ringing the bell. And Murdoch was fucking pissed, man. Trevor, I love you. If you remember that, bro, it was a great time. So I counted it, and Trevor turned to me and he goes, "You stupid motherfucker. Why did you count 3?" I said, "Because he didn't kicked out. Fuck you." And he starts chasing me. And I'm standing ringside, and these guys start throwing chairs at me at a live event. they start getting chairs and throwing them at me and cursing and just motherfuck you and all this and just going down the road. So I get to the back, and Arn Anderson was the agent, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on? What the fuck happened?" Trevor comes through. "This motherfucker, he fucking fucked us," and I was like, "Dude, you didn't kick out. I fucking kicked out. Fuck you, Marty." And so it was a big to do. So everybody leaves. Arn has me, Trevor, and Lance stay. So Ricky Steamboat was the other agent on that too. So what we do is we go, because back in the day, the boys would sit at a monitor and watch the shows and stuff. Today, I heard everybody fucks off and goes plays video games and does gaga. But back then, and again, it was a different time, back in my day. But anyway, so he sat us down at the monitor and he puts in the tape. And so Trevor's going, "Watch, we're going to fucking see, watch, you fucked up." And I'm like, "All right." So puts in the tape, we're watching it and stuff. Jeff goes up, does it, roll through 1, 2, 3, and then he kicks. And Arn stops it and he turns and he looks at Trevor and he goes, "I think you fucked up. Marty counted, you didn't kick out. Marty, you can go." And I bailed out. And Trevor and those guys, stayed there with Arn. And what was so fucking cool about it is that the next day, the next town, both Trevor and fucking Lance came up to me and apologized to me. And I to this day, man, I just earned their respect, because the fact that, I wasn't going to fucking do this, I counted 3, because if you're not fucking kicking, dude, you need to go back and explain it to the fucking booker, not me. So, did I do stuff like that? Absolutely, man. And again, I wasn't going to fucking get heat if people didn't kick out. And, I'd like to say that, I've been very successful at that in my career. I think the only time that I ever had an issue with anybody kicking out is on the indies. And that only happened to me twice, where I didn't count a 3 where somebody didn't kick out. And of course, I'm indie guy, I'm as green as fuck, so I didn't know any better. But I think really the only time that I did that, or that happened to me, is when I was working the indies fucking many decades ago. So I always made it a point that when I was counting 3, that I was gonna, and a matter of fact, back in the day, I had a callus right here, because I would come, because the thing that kids don't realize today, when you're enhancing the match with a big false finish, and I noticed that during the CM Punk and the MJ match, is that they had these big old spots and they were doing it, and the fucking referee, he's an embarrassment to referees. He counted, and he's counting 1, 2, and he stops like fucking here. And I just go, "What the fuck are you doing? You don't do that, man. You're giving away everything." And Mike Chioda taught me this trick, is that when you come down, your counts need to have a certain cadence, not just a 1, 2, 1, 2. So every false finish that you have in the match, that's where the cadence needs to be. And referees today don't understand that. And that what really blew my mind too, because I know Chioda went to AEW and he did some shots there, and then they didn't bring him back. But seeing the referees and how they work today at AEW, I was like, they need Mike Chioda, but the fact that he was there and they didn't really use him, it's like, that's a fucking shame, man. But anyway, Chioda taught me that no matter how close it would be, because if somebody wasn't kicking out, you still had the opportunity to fucking either graze it and make some type of noise for the 3 count. So, I would have calluses right here where I would just barely skim it. And there were times, that I did, oh shit, but it was a 2. And what I would do is I would come out and kick up or kick out and just kind of give the 2 thing, but I didn't fucking stand there and fucking pose, after my 2 counts, and that's a thing that I see people doing today, whether it be Aubrey or some other folks in WWE or whatever, is that when they do their counts or whatever, they like to pose and, fuck, look at me. And that's just not what you do. And for me, when I had my counts, and you can go back, look at WrestleMania, look at Lucha Underground, I always made those motherfuckers as close as they could be, because when you do that, you're actually fucking getting these people invested. You're drawing them in, because the last thing you want to do, see somebody sitting like this. You want to see people sitting like this. And that's a lost art form. And as a referee, you need to know how to do these things.
Mate, I remember specifically watching WrestleMania 25. I went round to my mate Shane's house, big up yourself, Shane, and we were watching it. And the near falls in the Taker Michaels match, they were enhanced by your counts because you know the big counts and, like you say, the cadence of it. If you've not got that kind of rhythm and you've not, because people need to know what to expect from the referee's counts as well, because then when it is a 2 3/4 or 2 7/8, people are like, oh fuck, it was, you can feel it every count. And I specifically remember the amount of near falls in that match were just and they were enhanced by you, man. 100%.
Yeah, and that match wouldn't have been that match without my counts. And I like to say that I contributed to that match as well. I mean, and it was great because Shawn told me a couple of years ago, there was 3 guys in that match and they all wanted to be there, and that's God's honest truth. We wanted to be there. And, it's really important, the cadence of your counts and stuff, and really, being that authority figure, even though it's a work, you still need to treat it as a shoot and stuff. And, that's the thing too. When I see referees with their 5 counts in the corner, automatically it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And no, you're fucking killing it, man. Because when you do that, especially when you're working with the heel, you always got to give that heel time to get their heat in. And when you're blasting the count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're not giving them the opportunity to bing, 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 bing. And then you walk them back. And then if you need to tell them something, you relay a time cue, whatever. And then they can just kind of walk, just kind of walk by you and start putting the heat. Or if I needed to relay something, they would tell me something, clothesline, out of the corner. So then I would push the heel back, come back and go check on the baby face and say, clothesline out of the corner. So he knew he's coming out of the corner to give the heel a fucking clothesline. And that's not being done today, man. It's just like everybody's jumping all over and everybody's out of position. They're ring positioning. They're not in the corners. They're right on top of people. And it's just like, man, who the fuck showed these guys how to do it?
You're right. They're not in the corners. And I specifically remember that was you with the legs spread quite wide in the corners, just, watching, moving, that ring positioning.
Yeah, and then too, here's the other thing too that I did that a lot of people, of course, this I'm saying it because I'm fucking great at what I do, or what I did, and I can still do it. What I used to do, especially working with divas or female talent, if you notice, because you just mentioned that I would be in the corner with my leg spread stuff. Okay, so what I would do to make these divas, these women talent and stuff, to make them look bigger, to make them look larger than life, is that when I got in the ring with them and the match started, I would be in a corner, but I would have my legs spread like I did normally. But what I would do is I would take it a little further and take 2 steps further out, because that would bring my height down. So when I was down lower like that, these girls were running their spots. You didn't see a fucking referee who was taller than them. That's fucking called an art form.
You know what I mean? There you go, bro. That's
out here playing 4D.
That's fucking magic. That's fucking magic.
Can I ask you about the WrestleMania, about the 4th man, right? The guy with the camera, and because from what I heard, I mean, the fucking rag sheets, the dirt sheets were talking a lot of shit after that match about A, who the guy was, B, what happened to him afterwards, and was it his fault that he wasn't there to catch Taker, Mark, or whatever, right? So from my point of view, I looked at it, it wasn't really his fault. He kind of, I mean, maybe it was, but maybe you can enlighten us. Like, what the fuck was going on? Did he get in some real shit for it? What the fuck happened, man?
Okay. Wow. So shit, man, I'm going to tell some cool stories. So, I'll give you guys exclusives. I remember when I did Talk as Jericho, we kind of dove into this, but I never really got into detail. And if we go 3 hours, I guess we're going to go 3 hours. I don't know. Fuck me. Yeah. And again, I've never talked as open and candid like this about anything. I'm always kind of just, you know, being political and stuff. But, you know, like I said, man, I mean, you know, I'm just going to tell the truth and give it a perspective and from my vantage point and stuff. And, you know, if people get offended by some of the comments I make, then, you know, tough shit, man. I mean, you know, do your fucking job, you know? But, you know, the thing is too, and, you know, don't embarrass something that I fucking gave my life to, you know? I really did, you know? And that's, I think the old school part of me, you know, is that it's insulting because the guys who came before me and before them, you know, I mean, really worked their asses off, because today's professional wrestling is not what it was 15, 20 years ago, man, 30 years ago. You know, guys were fucking doing shots. We were doing fucking 2 shows a night, man, on the weekends. And, you know, so we were on the fucking road, man. But yeah, you know, that's, I said, you know what, I just need to be open and honest about it and transparent and speak about it intelligently and give my humble opinion, you know. And, you know, if some people get offended by it or they feel that I said something wrong or out of content, then, you know, that's on you, you know. But I'm talking from my experience and things that I've done and things that I've been through, you know, the stuff that I've had to live through, you know. And if they want to say something different, it's like, fuck you, I lived it, you didn't, you know. So like a Dave Meltzer, fuck you, Meltzer, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking Mark.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, you know, I mean, getting the opportunity to work with Shawn and Taker at Mania 25 was fucking amazing, man. And people still ask me to this day, you know, what was it like, man? And it's funny because for a long time I was angry at professional wrestling and I didn't embrace it. And I didn't embrace all the cool shit and accomplishments that I achieved. And I was kind of disgruntled because, you know, the pro wrestling world can do that to you. But I embrace everything today, man, and I'm, you know, happy to talk about it. And the fact that, you know, guys like yourself, man, are fans of my work and what I did, dude. I never accepted that, because whenever anybody would tell me that they enjoyed what I did, I would get embarrassed, because I never got into the business to be a fucking star. I wanted to be the best at what I did, and that was my goal. That's what my dad ingrained in my fucking head, you know, always be number one. And, you know, to do the Taker match and then the Shawn match and seeing where it is today in the history of professional wrestling, it's fucking mind-blowing to know that I'll always be tied to WWE and Taker and Shawn. Man, it's an incredible feeling. And knowing that today and embracing that, I can say what I can say freely and be open and transparent, because I was the fucking greatest at what I did. And that WrestleMania 25 match fucking proves it, you know, that I was fucking the best. And I was there, and nobody's ever going to take that away from me. And nobody's ever going to be able to even do something like that, because those 2 guys will never exist again. Guys like that will never exist again. And to be a part of Taker and Shawn's history, and my brother told me something about 3 months ago. He goes, sit back and look at it, man. He goes, those careers by themselves, Undertaker and Shawn's careers by themselves, are fucking, you know, monumental. And the fact that I was in there with them and we made magic and we made fucking history, and it's considered the greatest match in WrestleMania history, I'm at peace with that, man. I'm at peace with professional wrestling today, because I was the best. And I can speak on professional wrestling intelligently, and I can give my opinions and suggestions, because I worked my fucking ass off to achieve all these things that I've done in professional wrestling. And if I'm saying something that somebody feels out of context, then you're probably not doing it right, you know, or nobody's taught you how to fucking do it right. And that's why you're saying that, because you don't fucking know how to do it. So I know how to do it, and I embrace that today. and the fact, that I'm giving my opinions on podcasts and interviews moving forward, I'm okay with that, man. Because, what are they going to say? Oh, we're not going to hire Marty. Fuck, I'm not there anyway, so fuck you. So WrestleMania.
The fourth man.
So yeah, so the fourth man. And there's a shit long fucking story with that, man. So anyway, we put that match together on a Thursday. And it was me, Pat Patterson, Michael Hayes, Taker, and Shawn. And WWE rented out ballrooms, and they would set up rings. Referees, we would set up rings in the ballrooms. And we would all meet, and we all got our itineraries, we got schedules, we got everything. So our rehearsal was, I think, at 7:30 in rehearsal hall number 1 or something. So it was us. So we're in there, we're sitting around, and way off in the corner was a guy sitting there, Indian style. And he gets up and he comes walking towards us. And it's Jimmy Snuka Jr. So he was sitting in the ballroom. So he's there and he says, "Excuse me, gentlemen, would you guys mind if I watched or listened, to you guys put this match together?" And everybody just kind of looks at each other, and then we all look at Taker, and Taker goes, "Well, we haven't really put anything together, and right now is not the good time." He's like, "Maybe later. Thank you very much." And that's all he said. And we said, "Oh, okay, cool." So, Snuka, stood there and, "Okay, thank you." And so he leaves. So we're putting the match together. And mind you, the only fucking direction and only thing that I was ever told from Shawn or Taker was that if he didn't get back in the ring after the dive to shoot, count him out. That was the only fucking instruction that I got. And I'll tell you how close it got.
It was fucking close, yeah.
Yeah, that was real. That was fucking real, man. So day of WrestleMania, me, Shawn, and Taker are sitting, talking, going over the match, making sure, hey, we did that. Apparently these fuckers aren't doing it today, obviously. So we're talking about the match, and then Pat Patterson comes up. "Oh, Mark, look it. I have this guy. Look at this guy. I think he's the guy." He's like, "What are you talking about?" So that spot, that dive, was originally going to be on me. But Vince came in on Saturday night and he vetoed it. "No, I don't want to take a referee out that early." Because mind you, originally we were going to be third and we only had 15 minutes. So
hold on. hold up. So WrestleMania 25, the build up for that match was fucking cool as well. Like there was a lot of build up. So
a lot of build up.
To then say that it was going to go on third and only have 15 minutes is fucking insane.
I fucking laughed because the Lumberjill match with all the divas was after us. Ray and JBL were after us. Kid Rock was after us. And it was like, and it was funny because when Michael Hayes told us how much time we had and where we were, Taker looks at Shawn and I'll never forget it. And Shawn wrote about it in his book because I wrote that chapter in Shawn's book. I was the ghostwriter. Yeah, I was. So
wow.
Because I remembered everything. I wrote shit down. I have everything. When I say everything, the paperwork, schedules, itineraries, drug piss testing stuff, I got fucking everything to this day. And it's going to be in my book. I'm going to put a lot of that shit in my book, which I'm shooting for an April release. It's called Life After 3. So just like the podcast. So I have everything, dude. So I never threw shit away. And I got a great fucking memory. Even though I've got my ass kicked and concussions and through the years, I remember fucking everything. People always come back to me, "Marty, do you remember this?" But then again, the last few years I hated wrestling. I didn't remember a lot of shit. So, that's what the mind will do to you. It's a powerful thing. So anyway, so we're sitting there And Taker looks at Shawn and he goes, Shawn, how long you been with this company? Shawn goes, most of my life. And he goes, 15 minutes. Third, that ain't gonna fly. Michael has, oh, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to Vince and don't worry. You're like, we'll see if we get a change. So Shawn goes, hey man, I can go on first. He goes, I can do the dark match. He goes, I just get home earlier. I can leave earlier. You know, Shawn didn't care. But it got changed, you know, and thank God it did. But so we were there, and do you guys remember Mania, of course, because you guys watched it?
Yeah,
so remember when Cena did his entrance and they had all those guys dressed up as Cena coming down the ramp? So the day before, Taker, a lot of those guys were around the ring and shit. And Pat Patterson wanted somebody to take that dive because Vince had vetoed it on me. Because Shawn even told me, he goes, Marty, we got to give you a WrestleMania moment. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, I mean, what am I going to say? Yeah, I need one. No. if Shawn Michaels says I needed one, fuck, I needed one. So I wasn't going to argue with him, and I got one. So we were there and we were talking, and Taker, you know, to sit there and know that we were third, it really didn't sit well with him. So that day, I mean, the day after, we were doing some, no, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Day of, all these Cena guys are there around the ring, and Pat had wanted somebody to take the dive. So Taker's going around and he's asking some of these kids their experience and how long they've been working and stuff. And I mean, it was funny because a lot of these kids were so fucking intimidated with Taker asking them, you know, how long you been working, kid? Or, you know, who trained you? And, you know, doing that shit. And, you know, so we really didn't have anybody. So what Pat Patterson did, because Pat was a sweetheart. And, you know, people can say whatever they say about Pat Patterson or other people too, you know, but, you know, Pat was a sweetheart. He was great to me. You know, I love Pat Patterson. I'll give you a cool Pat Patterson after I tell you this. So Pat was very good friends with Jimmy Snuka, Superfly. And, you know, he took care of Jimmy for a long time. And so he wanted Jimmy Snuka to be a part of Mania. So, you know, Taker's asking all these kids who were doing the Cena thing what their experience was and everything. And, you know, he just didn't feel comfortable. So Pat comes up, oh, Mark, oh, look at this guy. This guy, look at him, man. This is the guy to take the dive and, you know, doing all that shit. So he goes, oh, okay. And he goes, you trust him? And Shawn goes, well, looks at him, and Taker goes, what do you think? And he goes, well, if Pat's saying it's a go, then, you know, let's trust Pat. It's Pat Patterson, you know? So Pat goes, oh, this is great. Oh, take off your hat, Jimmy. Takes off his hat, shit, takes off the mustache. And he goes, look, we fooled you. It's Jimmy Jr. Oh, thank you. So that's how he got into the match, is because of that. So from what I've seen and from what I was told, that was a spot. And we had walked through it. We had walked through it and everything, you know? So if it had worked, you know, maybe that match would have been different. But Taker was fucked up, and I heard cracking sounds when and I felt it. And to be in a fucking stadium with 74 people losing their fucking mind at this point, and to hear that energy with 74,000 people, and, you know, people losing their shit, and then going to fucking, that was fucking, ooh, that was eerie. Like, I got goosebumps saying that, man. It was fucking eerie because I didn't know what was wrong. Shawn didn't know what was wrong. So we didn't know jack shit. But later on, we did find out that, you know, Taker broke his collarbone, he fractured his ring finger, and he got a concussion. But we didn't know that. We didn't know that until after the fact. But I mean, to have a crowd go from here to here, I mean, instantaneously was scary, because crowds don't do that, especially with these two guys. So if you guys see in the match, I start getting up and I start getting up, I was supposed to be down longer and I was supposed to be selling longer because Shawn wanted to give it that thing. But when the crowd went, hey, hey, like that, I went, uh-oh, something's wrong. And again, that's instinct and that just knowing, you know, being a veteran. And so I started coming up and I started selling. And when you guys see Shawn and he comes to me and he's doing this,
Yeah.
he's telling me to sell more. But I told him, I said, Taker's not moving. And he goes, what? And he goes, Taker's not moving. And he wasn't. He was just fucking, because I was peeking. And that's how you do it. There's tricks to do this shit. So I was peeking the whole time. And, you know, Taker wasn't moving. He was fucked up. And, you know, and then I seen Jimmy, who was selling. I was like, okay, but I didn't know. Shawn didn't know. We didn't know what the dive looked like or how fucking bad it was until we seen it the next day together. Whew, shit. So, so we did that spot. And as you guys see Shawn take me up and he's put me in the corner and stuff, you know, I went down to my ass because I said, well, I can just do it from here. But then Shawn, he goes, no, stand up. And so when Shawn has me in the corner and he's talking to me, he's telling me, take your time. Let's give him time. You know, just don't count until I tell you to count. I'm going, okay. And he's like, but just take your time. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. I got you. So we're selling and we're doing everything. So nobody knows that we're talking like this. You know, we're literally having a conversation and there's 74,000 people and Undertaker's fucking hurt right there. So it's like, all right. So if you guys notice what I did, and I did this purposely because I know Shawn, is that when I sat on my ass, I counted one and he comes at me and he goes, no. And he stands me up again because I wanted to kill that. And again, that's just working and knowing how to, you know, buy time and stuff, you know. So again, that's another fucking lost art form, is that you work with the boys to get that shit over. And again, it was such a dramatic moment that I was still hurt. So if you guys notice from that point on, I'm selling the whole fucking match, you know, holding my head and just like being a little bit slower. And but my counts, because after he did get back in, when he fucking gorilla slammed him like that, and that count, it was a 1. Because I was hurt, you know, I was still fucked up from being thrown against the barricade. So that count had to be, because if I would have kept my normal cadence, 1, it would have been, oh, you know, he's not hurt, fuck him. But I was hurt. That's the psychology of professional wrestling. And a lot of these fucking kids don't know that psychology. And they don't get that deep into fucking professional wrestling because, let's face it, professional wrestling was my life. It was everything to me. You know, I slept it, I ate it, I dreamt it, I did it. So it was everything to me. It consumed my fucking life for a long, long time. So I learned how to be the best. So that's why, you know, when you know how to work like that, you know, we gave him more time. So Shawn comes up, gets me up and tells me, you know, count slower. Okay, cool. I'll count slower. So as I'm counting, and this is how you know when you got the fucking crowd, is because I gave the crowd, and I always did with my counts, even my double downs, I always gave the crowd the opportunity to fucking join in. And what I would do is I would let them count and I'd go 1. And then what I would do is I would give it a beat, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. So guess what? The crowd's ready to say 2 because 1, okay? 1, 1,000, 2. So they want to go 2, 3, but no. You take your fucking time and 2. And when you're coming to do 2, they're with you. 2, come back down. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, checking on the boys, you know, Taker's out, whatever. 3. So you fucking draw them in. Even as a referee, you draw them in. And when Taker fucking rolled in, because me and Taker didn't make eye contact until 9. And when he fucking rolled in, that fucking place exploded. And the reason they exploded is because my fucking count drew them in. And Taker was selling. Shawn was selling. So it was like, holy shit, what's going to happen first? Is Taker really going to get counted out? And that's how you build the drama, man. And that's how you get people invested with stuff like that, because you take your time. You want to give them that drama. You want people to sympathize, and that's everybody's moving way too fucking fast today, man. It's like bing, 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 like a fucking, like I said, Circus Soleil and flippity doodah shit, that you're not giving people the opportunity to get invested or to resonate what you're doing. Because it's like somebody who's sitting down at dinner and they're fucking mashing down the mashed potatoes. They're mashing down the fucking corn. They're mashing down the steak. You're not enjoying your meal. Take your fucking time, enjoy it. It may be your last one. So you just need to enjoy it, man, and just take the time. And life is like that too. Take your fucking time, man. And people don't get that today. So Taker rolls in and the crowd just fucking explodes. And it's funny because people always have told me, or indie people, or some people, who thought that they were over, is that they would say, oh, do you hear that pop when they came out or something? I was at a show. No, I didn't hear pop. Well, what do you mean? This fucking crowd loves me. It wasn't a pop. Well, what do you mean? I know what a pop is. How? Because I worked with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Those are pops. Thank you very much. Real fucking simple, man. I know what a fucking pop is.
A pop is from 0 to a gazillion in a split second. That's a pop, right there.
When those fucking people jump out of their fucking chairs, that's a fucking pop.
74,000 people in the palm of your fucking hand on a count of 9. That is that's wildly impressive.
Yeah, go back and look at it.
Yeah,
for those of you who haven't seen it.
No, that's right. I mean, we watched it earlier, and I'm going to probably watch it again after this as well, just to fucking, because I remember I went to my pal Shane's and we were so excited for WrestleMania 25, and it was fucking the 25th anniversary, and Taker versus Shawn. The build up was fucking huge. You had I think wasn't Snooker and Piper on the show as well?
Yes, they were, because that was the angle with Jericho and Piper, Snooker, and Steamboat.
Yes, that's right.
And then at the next pay-per-view, I get Steamboat and Jericho.
Yes. Fucking A, that's right. I mean,
and guess what? Ricky and Chris asked specifically that I referee the match. And go back and look at that match, how fucking badass that match is too.
I mean, we're going to blatantly do that, man. We are going to do that. I mean, how do those, I mean, you say that Ricky Steamboat and Jericho asked for you specifically. I mean, does that happen quite a bit then when they say, look, we want Marty, we want, Earl or whoever the fuck it was?
Yes and no. But for me, the way that they became accustomed to asking me to be in their matches, and Lance Cade and whoever, Johnny Mundo, Pentagon, I mean, Tommy Dreamer. It was the fact that I gave a fuck, because I never wanted to be a professional wrestler. I looked at myself when I started and I said, you're not 380 pounds, you're not 6'8", and you're not good looking. So you need to do something, dude. And when I was training at Jesse Hernandez's school, I seen that they had issues with referees, and a fucking light bulb aha moment went off, and I went, that's what I can do. And I said, I'm going to go do it the fucking best. I'm going to fucking learn everything I can. I'm going to watch everything. And mind you, when I got in, dude, there wasn't fucking social media. There wasn't fucking instant YouTube and all that shit, dude. It was all about fucking trading tapes and shit with people and reading the magazines when they came out every fucking quarter, So, and then you had WWE that they gave you all the kayfabe storyline shit. So you really didn't know about the business, man. And, I learned because I was watching fucking VHS tapes, man. I wasn't fucking going on YouTube. I wasn't doing that. And then I'd go to shows and I would look at people, and then I would go to fucking Monday Night Raw and I would fucking watch Tim White, Mike Chioda. How do they do it? And then my payoff when I was doing that with Jesse Hernandez was I didn't get the $10 that I was going to get paid. I asked him for a copy of the show once he had it dubbed, and that was my pay. And I would go home and I would watch myself and look at myself, and then I would compare myself to fucking what Timmy White did like that Monday, or what Jimmy Corderas did that Monday, or what Earl Hebner did, you know. So I did that. And again, it's funny because JR, you know, you student of the game. I was a fucking student of the game. I still am a fucking student of the game. You know, I never stopped learning. Like talking to you guys, all these memories and things are just fucking coming to me, and my passion is coming out because I was that invested with fucking professional wrestling. God gave me a gift, and he gave me a gift, and he gave me the ability to be a great fucking referee. You know, and I never abused that. I never took advantage of it. I just wanted to be the best. If people don't remember me, then that's fucking cool. But if they remember the matches that I refereed and go, oh man, that referee was Marty Elias, then I did my job, you know. But if they say, oh man, Marty Elias got bumped at WrestleMania 25, then the match didn't do what it needed to do. So again, if people don't remember matches that I was a part of, and I was a part of some fucking cool ones, I'm okay with that, because that means I did my fucking job. And people knew, because here's the thing I told my nephew a couple of days ago. Does anybody really remember who won at WrestleMania 25 between Taker and Shawn? Fuck no. You never hear anybody say that. The only thing you hear people talk about that match is it was the greatest fucking match in WrestleMania history. Fuck. Nobody fucking cares who won or lost. Today, motherfuckers are concerned about their win-loss records. Get the fuck out of Dodge. Come on. It's a fucking work, man. Somebody is telling somebody to fucking let them win. Give me a fucking break, man. So take it for what it is.
Like you say, a lot of people give too much a fuck about winning or losing rather than telling the story. Yeah. And it was always about, and it should always be about, telling the story. And you don't have to win all the time to be a fucking good wrestler, man. You can constantly put people over and fucking be one of the greatest stars in history. We've had some on our show. We've had people that kind of jobbed, well, I say fucking jobbed, but like put people over constantly, and they were fucking great.
See, but I'll kind of add to that, because what people call jobbers, and back when I was breaking in or whatever, and the guys, you know, that I saw come through and all that, is that whenever you had guys who were putting guys over, and a prime example of a guy who was fucking amazing at it was Val Venus. Val Venus was one of the fucking greatest guys ever, and in-ring technicians that you could ever fucking hope for, man. And Val, I remember when Velocity and Heat were still a thing.
Yeah,
of course
you're
gonna have
figures, baby.
It's funny because you're gonna have people go, Heat. Well, that was a show before Dynamite and before
Fucking
Rampage.
Was. Yeah,
you know?
dude.
And it was a better show than what you got today. So Val would always put guys over on Heat. So we ended up calling Val King of Heat, you know, KOH. And that was our little thing with him. But Val was such a good fucking hand. And that's a lost art form now, that when you have guys like that, excuse me, the Al Snows, Paul Romas, who could make guys look like fucking superstars, man. That's a lost art form as well, because, you know, kids come in today to get dark matches. Oh, you're jobbing. You're a jobber. And, you know, they look like fucking jobbers. You know, I hate to say it, but they do, man. But back then, the Val Venuses, the Paul Romas, you know, and all those other greats, those guys were good fucking hands. And that's why those guys had those careers that they did and were with Vince, because they could fucking work with guys, anybody, and make them look fucking great, man. And again, it's all about being a fucking carpenter, you know. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to go carpenter. Well, if you're old school, you'll fucking get what I said. If you're not, then go fucking look it up and learn the business.
I mean, we had one of the greats, Alex Wright, on the podcast from WCW, and he is probably one of the greatest actual, you know, technical wrestlers, but he was able to work with anyone. You know, he made people look like $1 million, and he's another example of guys like you say who could literally work with anyone and make them look like $1 million. You know,
yeah, man. Yeah, and you know, again, that's a lost art form, and you know that's a lost art form in refereeing too, and the workers, you know, the way they work today. You know, everybody is doing stuff, and what really, you know, chaps my ass is that, you know, you have people like the Bucks who have whored out the super kick. And, you know, when you go out and you do Gaga and you super kick a fucking 5-year-old or something, it's like, wait a minute, time the fuck out, man. That was Shawn Michaels' finishing move, and he beat fucking Bret the Hitman Hart at fucking WrestleMania in overtime to win that fucking title. And you shit all over it, and fucking people use it as a fucking, you know, a spot now. It's like, really? Give me a fucking break, man. How fucking disrespectful is that? You know, maybe it's the old school in me, but again, you know, these moves and stuff, even the DDT, guys are hitting it and fucking rolling over 1, 2. It's like a fucking hope spot, man. You just go like, fucking when Jake fucking got those motherfuckers, man, and he fucking stopped, and he turned and he looked, and he fucking raised his arm fucking slowly. He still had that motherfucker cinched up, and he had it, and he did it slowly, and then he fucking whipped it. He fucking got you, man. And they don't do that shit today. They don't. It's all about, oh, look at you, look at me. Fucking ridiculous, man.
Myself and Jordan trained wrestling for a good few years, and we were always told, if you think you're going too slow, go slower. And that was like the key, because people get too excited when in the ring and they're doing things too quickly. First of all, you can make mistakes when you're doing things too quickly, and like you say, you can't enjoy a morsel if you're doing it too quickly. No one can buy it. But.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because Chavo used to tell the Glow Girls that when we were training them, you know, if you think you're going too fast,
go slower.
Yeah. So Pat Patterson, real quick, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm standing by Gorilla, and I'm getting ready to go. And I always had my little ritual thing, which I did every single show. Didn't matter if I was an indie guy or a fucking lucha guy or whatever. No matter where I was at, I always would go find a spot by myself, away from fucking everybody, for maybe 15 minutes before the show. And I would fucking get into fucking my head. I would get into Marty Elias, you know, and I was getting ready. And I had my little ritual that I did, you know. I always, Paul Roma taught me this trick too, is that it's a Snickers bar and half a can of Coke. You know, they get your blood flowing and stuff. So, and the sugar just gives you an automatic rush. So I'm doing my ritual and stuff, and Pat Patterson sees me, and he's smoking like he normally did backstage. Was the only guy ever, and Vince McMahon hates fucking cigarette smoke, hates it. But Pat was fucking right there by Gorilla. So I'm standing off, and Pat sees me, and he goes, "Marty, how are you doing?" I'm great, Pat, you know, because it's Pat Patterson. I go, I'm great. He goes, "So tell me something, will you?" "Yes, sir." He goes, "Are you nervous?" "Yeah, I'm nervous." "Why?" "How nervous are you?" "Well, Pat, I'm nervous that I could shit myself, you know, because I'm going out on live TV right now." He goes, "Good, because if you're not nervous, you get the fuck out of here." And he walks away. Yeah. So, and it's cool because, like I said, man, I did embrace professional wrestling, some of the cool shit that I was able to do, and some of the great people that I worked with and stuff. I mean, you know, who has memories of Pat Patterson like that? You know, I'm sure Mike Chioda and Chad and Jack and, you know, a lot of those guys from the Ruthless Aggression area, like myself. Thank you very much. And, you know, but those kids today, man, who, you know, really don't have those interactions with guys like that, you know, and it's sad because, you know, like Steamboat was an agent at WWE, and I'm sure he just got tired of the bullshit as well, just like Jeff Hardy did. But, you know, it's like, you know, when you don't have guys of that stature, you know, showing people how to do shit, then your product is going to suffer, man. You know, I mean, it's no different than Major League Baseball. If you got a shitty manager and shitty coaches, then your team's going to fucking be in the shits, you know, and it's no different than professional wrestling too. You know, and that's how simple it is. I mean, it's a simple fucking formula. I mean, Coke has had their formula since fucking the 1800s, and it's still the same fucking formula, and we're still drinking fucking Coke because it's good, you know. But you got your variations, Diet Coke and Diet this and Coke that and shit, but it's still fucking Coke at the end of the day. And again, all this applies to professional wrestling, but people just want to try and do it differently today for some fucking reason, man. You know, it's the same formula, but the characters fucking intertwine and change in and out all the time. That's all it is, man. Tony Khan should know that.
So have you got something to ask, George? Because I've got another question about a specific match.
Yeah. When we spoke yesterday, you mentioned Santino. You mentioned our interview with Santino. You said you had something to add to it, or something to correct, or even give us the whole truth on it. And I've been dying to hear it since we spoke about it.
Okay, so it was funny because Santino did. Anthony, if you see this, bro, I love you, man. Miss you. But I was the guy that John Cena had go get him. So he was the new guy, and I remember how this all transpired and how it played out and everything else, man. So you know, apparently Anthony didn't want to tell the whole story, but I mean the whole story was fucking funny. And yeah, I'm not gonna incriminate anybody or do anything, but it was fucking fun, man. And to have some great fucking times like that on the road, man, you just go, man, this is just amazing to be a part of this, man. And it's funny, and I'll get to your story and remind me to talk story, but I'm just gonna go off on a little tangent here. That when I grew up, I was a kid who loved Kiss, and I wanted to be in Kiss, and I got fired for wearing a Kiss t-shirt from WWE, and we'll get into that whenever you guys want to. But Motley Crue came into my life and really just changed my fucking whole perspective on life and who I was and where I wanted to be. And they gave me a voice, and I said, you know, I want to fucking do what Motley Crue's doing. I want to fucking have that. So when I got with WWE, I was never a partier in my life. You know, I did party in the 80s working with Mon Kill and all these other bands on the Sunset Strip, which that's a whole different fucking life for me, you know, because I did that first. And, you know, to be a part of the rock and roll world, I was like, fuck, man, I was privileged to do some cool shit. But when I got to WWE, I was touring. I was going overseas. I was going to Mexico. I was going to Hawaii. I was on tour, you know, because we fucking worked our asses off. In 2008, I was on the road for 308 fucking days.
Wow.
So if that's not being on the fucking road, I don't know what else is, you know, but that's just doing the road itself is fucking hard, man. And so I said to myself that I'm not in Motley Crue, I'm not in Kiss, I am touring, and I am on the road, and I'm going city to city. So I said, I'm going to party like I'm in fucking Motley Crue. So I fucking partied like I was in fucking Motley Crue, man. And I know Steve-O says that as well, but dude, I mean, he's absolutely right, dude, because my goal was to fucking be a guy in Motley Crue as well, especially what they did to me in 81, man. Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, Vince Neil, and you know, Mick Mars. And the fact here, you want to hear how fucking crazy my life is and how fucking cool it is and why I'm just like, I just want to be free about everything now, man. Professional wrestling, music. Dude, I worked for Vince Neil of Motley Crue, you know. Me and my brother Mike did his fucking backline, set up his amps and shit. Like, I mean, it's like, holy fucking, I'll send you guys the photo later, man, after we do this. But it's like, there I am, and here's fucking Vince Neil singing Dr. Feelgood. Are you fucking kidding me? Again, it's putting yourself out there, man, not just getting stuck in one fucking thing. Like, you know, everybody wants to wait for that fucking call from WWE that's never going to fucking come. Oh, one last run. Oh, they're going to call me for the Royal Rumble. No, they're fucking not. And you know, it's sad to see that. You know, I personally don't want to do that, but the reason I bring up the music thing is because I went and did something different, man, because I wanted to fucking get away from that, because I achieved what I wanted to achieve. And a lot of people don't get that. So, you know, they chase that dragon for fucking years and years, man, and they never get off that merry-go-round. And, you know, by the time they're done with, they're fucking 70 in a fucking rest home. So, you know, it's not cool. But it's great because I was able to go do music as well. So, you know, I'm not just a fucking lowly referee like people like to think. You know, it's you know, there's more to me than what people have ever known. So, you know, it's all good, man. I dig it. But I know I got off track. Where were we going with this?
Santino Marella.
Okay, here we go. Party. That's why we got into the partying thing.
That's right.
So we're in the locker room, okay? And I have it in my head right now, and I can see it play out. So Matt Hardy's standing by his locker, and he's brushing his hair, brushing it out and stuff. And he sees Anthony Santino come walking through, and Matt's brushing his hair, and Matt goes, "Hey, you know, you need to wear that tonight at the bar." Anthony goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you need to wear that at the bar tonight." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, whenever you win the title, you need to wear it." And mind you, he had beat Umaga that night, okay? The Miracle in Milan. So he beat Eki. So, okay. So then Matt's brushing his hair. And when he's telling him that, he says, "Right, Shawn?" And he turns to Shawn Michaels, who was sitting to his right. And Shawn's putting his hair in a ponytail. And Shawn goes, "That's right. You need to do it." He goes, so he goes, okay. So everybody gets their shit and stuff, and we go to the hotel, and we go up and put our bags away and shit. And Cena on the bus was saying, "I want all you motherfuckers down here 5 minutes. Go put your shit away. If you're not, I'm coming looking for you." So, okay, cool, man. You know, so we all went and did that shit. So we're downstairs, and lo and behold, there's no Santino. And where are we down there? And mind you, everybody and anybody who was a fucking agent at that time and who was on the tour was fucking down at the bar, Shawn Michaels included, man. And dude, to get everybody, Johnny Ace was down there, Michael Hayes was down there. I mean, it was like, holy fuck, it was a who's who of fucking wrestling royalty, man. So Cena didn't see Anthony. So he goes, "Marty, you go get fucking Santino right now. You fucking," okay. So I went up and I get a knock on the door. I said, "Hey man, John wants you fucking down right now." And he's like, okay. He goes, "But I'm hungry." And I said, "Well, John wants you down there." So he goes, "I want to get something to eat." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So we go down, I take him into catering, and he goes, "I'm going to have some rice. I'm going to have some rice." So he grabs the rice and stuff. So he's eating the rice, and he's sitting in front of me, and I'm sitting here, and in the corner right here at catering at a table was Randy Orton, Carlito, and Umaga. And so mind you, before I bring him down, we're walking at his door, and I go, no, you got to get the belt. You got to get the belt. Oh, so he goes and grabs it, puts it on, and he comes, and he's in the elevator. When he gets out of the elevator, ting, there's the bar, and there's all the boys. So he goes walking, goes to catering, and he goes into catering, wearing the belt, gets his rice, and he sits down, and Eki, Randy, Carlito are sitting there, and he's sitting there and he's eating his rice and shit. And I look over and I see Randy, and Randy goes, Eki, you're gonna put up with that shit right there, man? The fuck? And then Eki, I turn and I look at Eki, Umaga, and he slams his fork down and shit. He goes, oh hell no. This motherfucker's gonna do that to me because he's wearing the fucking belt out that he just beat Umaga on fucking TV for, you know? And again, it was a good rib, you know, and you know, Eki wasn't too pleased with that, but it was funny. So then he's done eating his rice, so we go over and they start drinking. All the fucking Jack Daniels starts coming out. Everything starts coming out. I mean, we must have fucking had them bring like so much fucking beer and whiskey, because they actually had to go to the back and get more, because we were just, like I said, it was everybody and anybody, and producers and agents and people that never came down to the bars or did anything, but they were there. So they're drinking, they're doing this and stuff. And then Cena starts headbutting Santino, starts fucking headbutting him. Boom, boom. Because Cena wanted him to fucking drop. And for Anthony's credit, oh, sorry, thought somebody's knocking. So for Anthony's credit, Santino, he held his fucking ground, man. He held his ground. And I was going back after everything, when people started, dropping out and stuff like that. I asked Cena, I said, can he go? Because I mean, he was fucked up. We all were, man. And so Cena goes, go ahead, take him. So as I get him around and I'm walking him up the elevator, there's a fucking planter right there with the big fake fucking tree and shit. So I push the button, get in, we're waiting for the fucking elevator just sitting there. And all of a sudden I hear, this motherfucker all over that planter. It's going, holy shit. And he's fucking drooling all over himself. I go up. I had his room key, get him up, put him in. I lie him down and I take the belt off of him. I put it up on the dresser. I take his shoes off, and then what I do is I turn on the air conditioning. And what I did, he was on his back. I turned him over, put him on his stomach. And then what I did is I grabbed a trash can out of the bathroom and I put it next to his bed. So he was literally with his head hanging over and his shoes off and shit. And he's there with the belt here. And it was like, good night, Santino. And that's what we did. So the next day, Raw, I was on Raw. So we left because we were going to another city. But SmackDown was going to do SmackDown because we had done Raw that Monday. So then that's what we did. We used to piggyback. So then SmackDown was going to do the arena that we did Raw at. So Santino was a part of SmackDown at that time. So I don't know who it was, but somebody calls Matt Hardy and says, don't let fucking Santino fucking, get him beer, get him. I mean, because they really wanted to fuck with him. And that's how you rib. So what they did is they made sure that when he came out, and plus he was late for the bus. Very late for the bus because Matt Hardy was in constant contact with whoever and giving us updates of his condition. So the whole day he was pretty fucked up, man. He was hurting. He was hurting. So, that was that story. It was so much fun to be a part of that. And, thank God nobody got hurt. But, that saying, party like a rock star, party like a professional wrestler. God's honest truth.
That's crazy. I mean, and I don't know about you, Joe, but I don't know if I've heard many stories about John Cena being like a crazy party animal kind of guy. I'm not sure if I've heard.
I think I might have heard maybe Ric Flair mention that Cena could drink a lot of people under the table, something like that. Like he said that Cena knew how to party, but that was as much as Flair went into it. He didn't go that far.
Was Cena a bit of a savage, was he, Marty? Like, was John Cena a bit of an animal?
Yo no hablo inglés. Man, I love John Cena, man. And I'm so happy for his success and shit. And again, people can talk all the shit they want about Cena. But dude, I was there in the beginning when fucking Cena came to California, man. When Mark Bell and Chris Bell brought him out, Mike Bell brought him out to UPW, Rick Bassman, and Tom Howard is the one who trained him. And, to be there in the very beginning, for the prototype and get to know John. I mean, it was fucking cool, man, and to see what he's done and who he is and, to see, that guy who would fucking pull up, man. And, he pulled up in a Lincoln Mark Town car that had a bad fucking carburetor. And every time he was driving it out of the driveway from practice and stuff, he would always have to fucking at a stop. He would always have to put it in neutral because if he left it in park and he put the brake on, the fucking thing and it would die. So what he would have to do is he would have to fucking have it in neutral and have his foot on the brake and then kind of just rev the gas, because if he didn't do that, his car would stall out. And I remember John Cena having that car and having that issue. I'm sure he doesn't have that issue today, but that's the John Cena that I knew and when he started. And he paid his dues just like everybody else did. So if he wants to buy 20 fucking cars, and he deserves it because he paid his fucking dues, man. Love you, John.
Can I quickly ask you about
Sure.
Mike Bell and Chris Bell?
Oh man.
Because one of my favorite documentaries, it's kind of to do with wrestling as well, is the Bigger, Stronger, Faster and the side effects of being American. Like, I fucking love that documentary. And like I say, I mean, if you know those guys, anything you could tell us about those guys?
Yeah, man. Mad Dog was an enhancement talent, but Mad Dog was a good enhancement guy. And actually, Mad Dog helped train Cena with Tom Howard and stuff. And then, I remember when Mark Bell, Smelly, who's now a very famous power lifter and shit.
Yeah.
I remember when Smelly and Mad Dog were doing Hell's Bells as a tag team, and working with those guys. And Chris Bell was actually writing for UPW, Rick Bassman, when I got there. When I went to go try out and get in front of UPW, because I knew, that UPW was doing some cool shit with WWF and stuff. And I knew that Bruce Pritchard and Tom Pritchard and, JR were coming and looking at people and stuff, because they'd done that and they'd signed Cena, they'd signed Aaron Aguilera, Hardcore Kid, they signed Lisa Marie, Victoria. They signed a guy by the name of Basil, who unfortunately passed away like 2 months later. Nathan Jones came through there. Melina came through there. KG Sakota came through there. Kazarian came through there. Mikey Henderson, who was a fucking great talent who never made it, unfortunately. Rick Knox came through there. Horseshoe came through there. Luther Reigns. Marty Elias came through there. So there was a lot of fucking great talent that came through UPW. And it was cool because whenever we would do these shows and stuff, I remember Bruce and Tom and everybody coming out and, hanging out with us and teaching us. And, fuck, man, it was a great time to be in professional wrestling. And, we really, really worked our asses off to make that thing happen. And, I'm glad that I was a part of that. But I remember when I got to WWE and Cena and I, we toured. We were in Australia, man. And we're sitting in the back of the bus. And I sit in front of John and I turn over and I said, "This is fucking great, man." And he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, it is, huh?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm glad you're here and I'm glad to see you here and I'm glad you made it here." He goes, "Because I remember UPW." And I went, "Wow, dude, fuck yeah." So it was cool. It was cool to get that from John, and every time when I see him, it's like, "Oh my God, fuck hugs," and, all this shit. And because, I was there when this motherfucker was starving, when he came from the Bells. But Chris Bell was the writer. Chris Bell's the one who introduced him to Rick Bassman and Tom Howard. And, Chris was a great fucking dude, man. Intelligent, such a great writer, such a great documentary guy, man.
Yeah.
And like to see his documentaries and do well. And, it's, and then Mark Bell, I remember he was Smelly. I remember Smelly working a match at a UPW show that we did at a casino. It was Superfly Jimmy Snuka versus Smelly.
Wow.
And I was the referee for that.
Wow.
And, I remember that shit, man. So it's great talking and opening up to you guys and on my own podcast. That's what I'm going to be doing, telling these types of stories. Life After 3 on Killcliff. Check that out. I just want to be transparent and open about some cool shit and, just say it intelligently and say it as open, as honest as I can. And, if people feel that I'm burying them, then I'm sorry, because, it's just, I was there, I lived it. And, I'm not trying to be disgruntled, because that's the furthest thing that, I'll ever do is be disgruntled, because when I'm done, I'm fucking done. And I just leave you in the back mirror, man. So I'm just like, I'm cool, man. If I never step into a ring again, professional wrestling, I would be okay, because I haven't done it since 2019. And I did a match with Paul Roma that was 5 minutes. So it really wasn't even that long. So, I don't do it. And plus nobody's knocking down my door, because I don't have a lot of numbers, wrestling related. And, I'm not calling people, and, I'm not in the fucking loop, and I'm not, saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" Because I don't really give a fuck, man, because I've already done that. And I did it at the highest level. And, who's going to fucking take it away from me? Nobody. That's why I embrace it, man. I did some great stuff at WWE. I learned from the fucking greats and the legends, and, I applied what they taught me. And that's what made me the referee that I am today, or was, because I paid attention. I learned. I was a student of the game. And, you know, I took being a referee fucking serious as a fucking heart attack. And unfortunately, I don't see that same passion. To me, a lot of kids today in the wrestling business, whether it be workers or referees or whatever, they're fucking soft, man. You know, they're fucking soft. And I just, you know, that's not where I want to be, you know, because I enjoy Marty. I enjoy doing whatever the fuck I want to do, not having somebody go, you know, we own you. Fuck you. You know, I own myself, man. You know, I'm not going to be a fucking puppet, you know. And plus, if they were to come to me, they couldn't afford me because I would ask for so much fucking stupid money that, you know, and I would do it just to fucking for shits and giggles because I know they won't give me what I want. And that's just the thing too. If I ever go back to professional wrestling, it'll be financially, just like all these other fuckers, you know, who go back. It's all financial, man. And, you know, it's not that I'm broke or poor and begging for it. I just, you know, I'll take your fucking money. Why not?
That's something we always say on this show is we never knock anyone's hustle.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Absolutely. You mentioned it briefly. Probably want to jump into it. A Kiss t-shirt and fucking Mark Carano.
Yeah, fuck Mark Carano.
There we go.
Mark Carano. There you go.
Um,
You know, talk about a fucking human being that's a piece of shit. So I'm being open because, and you know what? I'm not saying this. Where'd you go, Chris? I'm not saying this to be angry. I'm just speaking it, man, because he's not a good human being. And, you know, when he was in his position of power, which he totally abused and, you know, made people's lives miserable. I just hate that motherfucker. I really do. And I know hate is a strong word, but, you know, this guy just, you know, piece of work, man. So I was doing, we were at the Marriott and we had done a run overseas and we had come back. And when you're overseas for 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time and stuff, you have a tendency to run out of clean clothes. So, and at that time it was a business casual colored slacks, dress shoes, whatever, you know, they wanted you to be a corporate monkey. So I didn't have any clean collared shirts. Could I have put on a dirty one? Yeah, but that's not how I roll, you know. I'm a very clean individual, you know. So I said, fuck it. I got 2 shirts left. Oh, I'll wear this Kiss one. So as I'm standing, and unbeknownst to me at the time, so I'm standing there and I didn't know that Vince McMahon, his limo was there because I was waiting for my car in valet. So I didn't know that Johnny Ace and Kevin Dunn were in the limo. So Kevin Dunn sees me and he turns to John and he says, hey, Marty's out of dress code. What are you going to do? And Johnny goes, I'll take care of it. Yeah, right. So I get to the arena and they used to give, Mark Carano used to give the referees, Johnny Ace as well. I don't know how it runs today, but they would always give the referees a shit duty. And what I mean by that is that we would have to check people in. You know, so let's say if we were on the West Coast, we had a call time for 11 a.m. And if somebody showed up at 11:30, we would have to write 11:30 and we'd have to turn it into Carano or Johnny. And if these guys were late or girls were late, then they got fined $250. So I hated that fucking shit duty and I hated being the stooge because I didn't want to be the guy responsible for my brothers and sisters getting fucking reprimanded because they showed up late, because they woke up late or whatever, you know. So I hated that. And Carano and Johnny used to thrive on that, especially Carano, man. And they would have the drug testing and we would always get the sheets and stuff. And we would always have the checkoff list. And Carano would always give that to us referees. And as a matter of fact, I still have, I found all of them recently when I was going through all my storage, and I found a lot of those piss tests, you know, with my notes and stuff that I wrote on and everything. So if anybody ever wants to challenge that, I got it. So Carano gave us the drug testing list. And it was his responsibility as somebody in talent relations to go do that, because nor was I trained or had any authority to go tell somebody to test, because I wasn't a paramedic. I wasn't a fucking doctor. I wasn't anybody's boss. Neither were the other guys. But yet we were given that responsibility to go tell, you know, Lord Steven Regal, William Regal, that he needs to fucking take a piss test. We need to go tell fucking Big Show he needs to go take a piss test. We need to tell fucking John Cena he needs to go take a piss test. We need to go tell Umaga he needs to take a piss test. So to have that unnecessary heat put upon us because this motherfucker didn't want to go do his job, and he gave it to us to go do it because that was his responsibility as talent relations. You know, I wasn't part of talent relations. I mean, fuck, I wanted to be, but you know, I got fired before I had an opportunity to do it because I think I'd be fucking great in talent relations. You know, I know both sides of the spectrum, the office and fucking being one of the boys. So, but that's here or there, man. And but yeah, I mean, you know, he put that upon us, man, and he didn't give a fuck, man. He enjoyed watching us go up to a Big Show and Big Show telling us to fuck off, and he'd get a fucking kick out of that, man. You know, he'd giggle and he'd fucking go, "Hey man," and he, you know, it's just like, I mean, for him to have that position, I mean, A, he never fucking deserved it, and B, he was just a horrible fucking human being. You know, you just don't treat people like that, man. You don't, and that's why, you know, I relocated from California recently because I was just tired of the bullshit, man. I was just tired of California, tired of the toxic environments and shit. And that's why, dude, I'm at peace today. And that's why I'm being so open and honest here because, you know, I'm good, man. I'm good with Marty, man. I'm good with what I did. And, you know, if I got to be honest, especially about horrible human beings, like Mark Carano, for example, you know, I'm going to tell you my experiences with them because the experiences did happen to me personally. So I'm not trying to say he's this or that. I'm just expressing and telling you what happened to me and my experiences, you know. So if anybody wants to take it out of content or Marty said this or that, you know, go fuck off, you know, because everybody wants to spin it their own way. So, you know, fuck it. It's recorded. You know, let's do this.
That's right. So I mean, it's so going from that, I mean, I want to step back and ask you about one other match, if that's all right, in WWE.
Sure.
And it was one that you sent me a really cool fucking photo of, man, and I'll put it on the screen. It was the Great American Bash 2008, Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. So the ending of that match, you stopped it for the stoppage because the you know, Shawn Michaels apparently couldn't continue. And the blood in that match was pretty bad, man. At one point, you could see it squirting from Shawn Michaels' head. It was pretty fucking bad. So, I mean, I take it that was supposed to be the finish of the match was a stoppage, but
Yes.
did you, yeah, I mean, Shawn must have bladed himself pretty deep, man.
Yeah. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah, dude.
You want to hear it from my perspective?
Yes, please.
What I experienced? Okay. So yes, that match was the match that banned blading and blood in WWE. That was the one that Vince said no more. And again, I was asked in Mexico City by Chris Jericho if I wanted to referee or be involved with the angle that he had coming up with Shawn. We were in Mexico City and we did a run there, and we were going up to the terminal in an elevator, and Jericho says, "Hey man, Shawn and I are going to be doing an angle." He's like, "You want to be a part of it?" I go, "Yeah, man." So, and it's funny because Steve Smith of Journey was in the elevator with us, and he was doing a drum clinic. So we both, being music fans, we marked out for him. Oh my God, it's Journey. So we get up there, and Shawn says, "Yeah, go talk to Shawn, man." I go, "Okay." So I go, and Shawn's sitting at the terminal, and I sat down next to him and said, "Shawn, you got a minute?" And that's the thing that people need to understand too, is that whenever I went to go talk to Johnny or talk to Vince or talk to Shawn, you know, I was respectful, you know, even to this day, you know, saying, "Excuse me, do you have a minute?" Because I never took it upon myself to just feel that I could just go up to them, even though I could. But that's the aspect of the business it's lost too, is that respect and that etiquette, that, people just, they think they're who they are, whatever, and they don't say hello or goodbye or even give a flying fuck that you're there. So, you were always respectful like that, especially with guys like Shawn. And I was friends with Shawn. So I said, hey, you got a minute? He goes, yeah, what's on your mind? Sit down. I said, well, I just talked to Chris in the elevator. He said, you guys are going to be doing something cool. I said, he asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, but he told me to talk to you. He goes, yeah, we're doing something. He goes, we're going to start it Monday. He goes, and we'll see where it goes. And I said, okay. I said, well, if you guys need a great referee, I said, I'll work hard for you. And, it would be an honor to be a part of this. And he goes, I'll keep it posted. Okay. And off I go. So, we got to TV and stuff. So if you go back and you look at that angle, whenever Shawn was attacked by Chris or vice versa, or something was happening backstage and everything, you will always see Marty Elias in those, because that was what Shawn and Chris wanted, because I was going to be refereeing the matches. So it would just, everything, the continuity of the angle and faces and things would have a continuity through the angles. So seeds were planted with saying this or doing that, or me being the referee and stuff. So that gave it a continuity, man. And that's lost today too, because people don't fucking do that. Even at house shows, it was me doing shit with them. And you just kept that up. And that's what true old school professional wrestling, you're telling that fucking story and you got all the characters intertwined. So, even though I was the referee, it's good. But to your point, I don't know, man. That match was something that it was like, fuck, man. It was a big aha moment for me at WWE. And the reason I say that is because when we got to that show and we were at Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, I went up to Chris when I found out that it was a stoppage. And I said, how do you want me to do this? And he goes, well, stop it. I was like, all right, I'll stop it. But is there any particular way, And he goes, you know what? Go ask Vince. Okay. I'll go ask Vince. I don't give a fuck. Because Vince always said, I have an open door policy. And so I went, okay, I'm going to go fucking ask Vince. And the story I'm going to tell you right now, I've never fucking told it publicly. I've told it to people, but like family or friends and shit, but I'll tell you the story. So he says, go ask Vince. All right. And I'd asked Shawn, and Shawn was like, just be aggressive, is what Shawn told me. So when Chris told me to go talk to Vince, I went, okay, fuck it. I'm going to go. Yeah. Vince? Yeah. You got a minute? Come on in, pal. All right. I walk in, and there's Vince. There's Triple H. So I said, Vince, I said, I need to ask you something. I said, with Chris and Shawn's match tonight, I said, how do you want me to play this? I said, because it's a stoppage. And again, I took it upon myself to take the initiative to do what was right and how to sell this and what the boss was looking for, man. And I know I got a lot of misery and heat for doing that, but I just wanted to be the best, man. I just wanted to be the best. And I just wanted to learn, because this was Vince fucking McMahon and this was WWE. This was his company, so I just wanted to learn, and I wanted to learn from Shawn. I wanted to learn from Jericho. I wanted to learn from Steamboat. That's all it ever was, man. And I did. So I asked him, I said, what are you looking for? And what do you want this to be? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, yeah, it's a stoppage, but how do you want me to stop it? And he's sitting there and looks at me and he goes, have you ever seen Rocky? Yeah, everybody's seen Rocky. Remember in Rocky 2, where Rocky and Apollo were down? Yes, sir. He goes, do you remember how the referee was counting? Do you remember how dramatic that was? And I go, yeah. And remember at the very, very end, where fucking Rocky's getting up and Apollo's getting up, and God damn it, Apollo goes down. And, you know, he goes, I want something like that. That's what I want. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, fuck yeah, I know exactly what the boss wants now. And I was walking out and I went, fuck, Vince McMahon just fucking did Rocky for me. And, you know, went and did the match, and we did what we did, man. And I had that fucking stoppage, and it was dramatic, and it was fucking suspenseful. And I got all the fucking blood over me too, man. And I still got that referee jersey. And again, I'm always being proactive, and I've always been the guy that went, I think I need to do this. So the next day at TV, we were in Bridgeport, Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. Something told me to fucking get my referee jersey. It was fucking bloody. I mean, it looked like they slaughtered a fucking pig in it, to get it fucking signed. So I went down to catering, and Shawn was there. And I said, hey, Shawn, I said, I know I'm being a mark. I said, but I just need to do this. I said, can you sign this jersey from last night? I said, this is all your blood. And he goes, oh, wow. Yeah. So he signs it. And he goes, you know, I seen a website and they mentioned your name about the match last night. And I went, oh. And for me, I was like, oh, fuck, did I do something bad? Because, you know, they mentioned me. I mean, as a referee, that's not supposed to happen. But he said, no, you know, it was good. It was something good, you know. And I went, oh, okay, cool. And again, talking to Vince and asking Vince what he wanted, you know, really gave me the perspective of what he looks for and what he wants and what his vision is. And the thing is, too, that what I did, and I tell a lot of these kid referees this, too, is that when I was training as a referee and coming up in the business and getting a lot more exposure and training and working with better guys and girls and stuff like that, it was something that needed to be real. And to me, it was always a work shoot. And what I did is I took it upon myself. And again, I took the initiative that I started watching Mills Lane, a very famous professional boxing referee, Judge Mills Lane. I started watching him, and I started watching how he would be aggressive with the boxers and how he would interact with them and his body language and stuff. So I took a lot of what Mills Lane did, and I applied that to Marty Elias as the referee. So when I did that match at Great American Bash with Shawn and Jericho, I took what I had seen and learned from Mills Lane, and I applied it. So when that finish happens with me shaking him off, and I mean, that was a fucking shoot. That was a shoot. And yeah, that was pretty fucking cool, man. That photo is probably one of my favorite photos of all time. That photo that I sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Man, thanks for telling us the story, because when I saw the photograph, I had to ask you about it. I was like, man, we've got to get this on the fucking podcast, because again, before this, I sat and I watched the match, and I was like, fuck, man, what a great fucking match. I mean, like, Shawn was bleeding like a stuck pig. He was literally like, it was at one point you could see it squirting all down onto his chest, and that I was like, I forgot how bad that match was, but you know, the bleeding was how bad it was. But
and I laugh because again, it was a different time and stuff, is that I didn't break out my fucking gloves and fucking stop to put them on or do fucking something stupid like that. And I didn't go and call a fucking paramedic in or a fucking medic. No, we fucking kept going. Shawn kept going. But again, I was talking to Shawn the whole time and asking him, and Shawn was coherent and stuff. And that's the other thing too, you know, that I always knew when one of the boys was really fucked up, you know, because I just, from working and just gauging and knowing these guys, you know, I knew when Shawn was good. That was it, man.
Sorry again to jump in, but you've just mentioned about knowing when the boys are not good. And I think Jordan knows where we're going to go here.
There we go.
AEW has had numerous occasions. How many, Jordan, would you say it's had? 3 or 4, 2 or 3?
On TV, yeah, like on pay-per-view, it's happened too many times. One is too many for us anyway. But yeah, these injuries and these, you know, what was the biggest one was Matt Hardy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you ever saw that one, Marty, but
No.
Matt,
I tell you, man, when I tell you guys that I don't fucking see professional wrestling, I mean, I don't see professional wrestling. If somebody sends me a screenshot or they send me like a news link, oh, okay, I'll check it out. Hey, what do you think is happening? So I'll give my professional opinion, my experience opinion. But other than that, I mean, I don't sit and watch it, man. I mean, I did sit down and I watched it last Wednesday, and I'll never get back those 60 minutes, 2 hours of my fucking life. I'll never get those back. And again, I'll never get over being traumatized on how embarrassing professional wrestling is. Like that referee who had the match, I met him before. His name was Bryce Ramskin or something like that. I met him. Nice kid. He was very respectful, but he's a fucking embarrassment to professional referees, man. And, I mean, I'm being completely transparent and honest. I'm not trying to bury the kid, but it's like, dude, who the fuck taught you how to referee, man? Because that's not what you do. I mean, God damn, sorry about that. You just, dude, it was something that, again, talking to you guys right now, I'm just flustered because it was that bad. It wasn't even okay. It was really bad. And what people need to understand is that I'm not seeing it from the guy sitting in the front row. I'm not seeing it from the viewer who's watching it on TV. I'm seeing it from the inside out. Okay. I'm seeing it from inside the ring, and being inside the ring with Undertaker, with Shawn Michaels, with CM Punk, with Eddie Guerrero, with Chavo Guerrero, with Chris Benoit, with Ric Flair. You want me to fucking keep going? You see where I'm going with this? It's that, you fucking have a respect for the business, man, and you learn how to do your craft the right way. And unfortunately, that's not happening today, man. It's like you're just letting go and run wild, man. And to me, that's very disrespectful to the guys who came before me and before them and stuff. And, I was talking to somebody recently, and I told him, I said, what's really scary is if professional wrestling continues its journey on where it's going right now with all the rumors and being sold and all this stuff, is that eventually there won't be anybody who knows professional wrestling working for those companies today. And that's a sad thing to contemplate,
It is that. I mean, it would be really interesting to hear. Maybe we'll send you a video of what happened on these occasions. But it was one occasion where I think Matt Hardy was basically knocked out cold during a match.
Sorry, I got to text somebody. Sorry.
No worries, man. So basically, Matt Hardy was knocked out cold during a match, and the referee didn't really stop it or didn't do anything. Like, they kind of panicked.
It was a deer in the headlights. Yeah. Very much.
It was deer in the headlights, didn't know what to do. And I think, was it Aubrey, dude? Yeah, it was Aubrey. Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see your thoughts on what could have been done better. But I mean, was there ever a time where, someone was really badly injured during a match and you had to kind of...
Yeah. And a matter of fact, I'm going to talk to him on my podcast, Life After 3 on Killcliff. I'm going to talk to Marty the Moth and Ultima Lucha 4, Ultima Lucha 4, for those non-speaking people. It was Pentagon versus Marty the Moth, and Marty got color. And I knew what they were doing, and I knew everything that was going to happen because most referees do, Yeah. So he was bleeding pretty bad, and being the veteran that I am and being in the ring with guys, you get to know them. There's a chemistry that you have with guys and girls, even if it's just like you're just working with them for the first time. You just get in, you got this chemistry, man. And a lot of these kids don't have that today. So Marty was bleeding pretty bad, and they still had like 3 or 4 big spots that they had to do that were going to be fucking vicious because he had already, done some barbed wire. They did a spiked bat, and then he got thrown into a fucking glass plane, and it was fucking brutal. Matter of fact, I got my hand full of fucking glass shards that night too. And after the show, I had a fucking paramedic for about 45 minutes pulling out all these fucking shards of glass. people don't see that part, and again, I'm not over going on social media, going selling it and things like that. Look at, I got cut, fuck you. I was doing my job. So anyway, we where were we at?
He got color.
Got color. Thank you. I knew something was coming. So he got color, and they had these other two big spots that were coming up, and I started asking him questions because I literally seen his color change, and I've been around enough horrible things in my life that when I see somebody injured, that I know when somebody's fucked up, and he wasn't looking good. So I started asking questions, and me, when I know somebody's fucked up, and again, this comes with experience, is that I would ask them their name, not their, what's your gimmick, what's your name? And if they couldn't give me their fucking full name, shoot name, all right, well, maybe. So then I would ask them, where you at? What? And sometimes they would tell me where they were at in the match. No. Where are we at? What city are we in? And if they couldn't tell me that, then I knew that somebody was fucked up. And I would say, I would call an audible, and I would say, and I would go tell somebody, the opponent or whatever, hey, such and such is fucked up. He's not, we got to take it home, dude. And we take it home, and then we go to the back or something. And then it was like, well, what the fuck's going on? And oh, somebody fucking was bad or this and that. We went home. So, our medics and our physicians, and they would be right there. But, you need to be able to gauge that as a referee, especially as a professional wrestling referee. You need to know when somebody's fucking cuckoo, man. And I've seen so many concussions and injuries in my fucking career that I know when somebody's fucked up, myself included. So I think that that's a lost art form that they don't know how to do it. And here's the thing too, is that so many people are being rushed and pushed into certain positions as referees or wrestlers who were trying out, but now they want to make them a referee, is that you need to be able to dance on your feet when things get, bad. You need to be able to do shit on the fly without even thinking. Like Dr. Tom told me years and years ago, you need to be able to do this with instinct. That as soon as something happens, you instinctively just fucking go, man. And that's what you do. And I think that's a lost art. And I really believe that, because after seeing AEW on Wednesday, it's a lost art.
So would you be open to anyone calling and saying, look, these referees need some serious help. Can you come in and do something with them?
But here's my opinion of that, is that I'm not going to help anybody if they don't want my help. Yeah. And I don't go reaching for my phone and calling AEW or this guy or that guy to get a job, because that's not where I'm at. But if somebody reaches out and says, hey, can you help me? Yeah, I'll help you. And I do that with some referees. Matter of fact, Shane Chest. Shane, I'm giving you a plug, brother. He works for Al Snow at OVW, and Shane reached out to me randomly on Facebook when I got back on Facebook, and he reached out to me and he says, hey, I'd really like your help and input. He goes, because I loved everything that you've done. He goes, would you be okay with checking out my matches? I said, absolutely. And here's the thing too that people need to know, is that more times than not, when you reach out to somebody on social media, one of the veterans, one of the boys, whatever, 9 times out of 10, they're going to charge you for their time or whatever. Me, I could give a fuck, man. I mean, and the reason I'm like that, and I don't take people's money, because that has happened to me throughout my career, and that's not a good thing. But I look at it from this point of view, is that I want to help these people, because if they're willing to listen and learn like I was, then that means that they're halfway there. But at the same time, I want to see people achieve their dream, especially in professional wrestling. I want to see people get to WrestleMania. I want to see people main event WrestleMania. I want to see people, do Monday Night Raw, because I was able to do it. And there was a lot of motherfuckers that helped me along the way, and I want to give that back. And I want to see people, and my payment, like I tell them, is that I want to see you succeed. That's my payment. When you're successful, then that's fucking great. And I'll give you a prime example of somebody that I did that with. I did that with Bayley. The reason why Bayley got signed to WWE is because I gave her shit to Funaki. Because I'd seen her at an independent show, and I pulled her aside and I said, "Hi, what's your name?" Marty Elias. She didn't know who the fuck I was, like a lot of these kids don't, but that's okay. You know, look me up. So she was in a tag team, and I seen her and I pulled her aside. She just had the it factor. Okay. And when people say the it factor, that shit is real. And I think I've been around enough fucking talent in entertainment, acting, movies, television, music, professional wrestling, that when I see fucking talent, I know fucking talent. So she just had something about her. And I pulled her aside and I said, "Hey," I introduced myself. And she says, I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Davina." I said, "No." I said, what's your real name?" She goes, "Pam." I go, "Pam what?" She goes, "Well, my name is Pamela Martinez." I went, "Okay, Marty." And I said, "Hey," I said, "would you happen to have any photos or have any type of, videos or anything like that, that you can send me?" And she goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, I want to send them to somebody." I said, "But if you got something, I'd appreciate it." I said, "Here's my email." I said, "When you get a minute," I said, "email me." "Okay." I said, "Send me a little bio." So she did. But before she did that, before I walked away from her, I told her I was going to send it to Funaki. And Funaki at the time was doing more stuff with Japan. So she told the story later that when I gave her stuff to Funaki, she thought it was going to be for Japan. She didn't know it's for WWE. So when I gave Funaki her stuff, he took it to the office. And it just so happened that they were doing tryouts, I think, the next 2 weeks. And she went down to a camp with William Regal, Scott Armstrong, Bill DeMott, who else was there? A few others were there. And she got signed 2 weeks later to WWE. And I'm the guy that, seen her, thought she had it, and I gave it to Funaki. And see, but nobody hears those fucking stories. Nobody tells those stories. The only time Bayley's ever acknowledged that was on Stone Cold's podcast, because he asked her, how'd you, Marty Elias? Okay. So, but hey, I main event at WrestleMania.
I mean, if you're only going to tell it on one podcast, then maybe Stone Cold is the one to tell it.
Yeah, and I pop because people be like, "Stone Cold said your name." No, what? Bayley talked about you. So that was very cool. That was very cool. But for the typical wrestling fan who knows professional wrestling and doesn't know who I am or what I've done, I'm just like, no, I mean, and this applies to Mike Chioda. It applies to Jimmy Corderas and a lot of the other guys, John Cone. I mean, John Cone's the talent manager, road manager now. And, Chioda did a bunch of great shit. And, Jimmy Corderas is doing his own, referee thing. And, he was doing stuff with Aftermath. And, so there's a lot of stuff that referees have done that people don't have a fucking clue, man. And, that they just feel that, you're this referee or you're that guy, and they perceive you as what the business perceives you as. And it's like, no, man, there's a lot more to us. And to me, that's the thing by doing these podcasts and having my own podcast now and just getting out there and just being fucking completely honest that, that all of us referees, the Jimmy Corderases, the Chad Pattons, Scott Armstrongs, the Goose Mahoney's, West Adams, all those cats, man. I mean, Charles Robinson, I mean, Joey Morella, I mean, just the list goes on and on. Tommy Young, Earl Hebner, Brian Hebner. I mean, dude, we were a part of a fucking cool era, man, of referees, and you don't fucking have that today, man. And it's sad because there's a brotherhood that I don't think these motherfuckers even have a clue of what it's about. And, it's sad that, referees aren't acknowledged. And, I remember Kevin Dunn when they stopped saying referees' names at WWE, that was Kevin Dunn. He went to Vince and said that referees are irrelevant. And he told Vince that nobody pays to see a referee. So that's why they stopped saying our names on WWE television. You know, Michael Cole lets it slip every now and again, but you know, that's what that happened. And then right around that time too, when I was just getting into WWE, John Laurinaitis decided that, you know, referees didn't deserve royalties, so they fucking took all the royalties away from referees.
Man, I mean,
Yeah.
you were ultimately still performers. You're still performers, still taking fucking bumps.
Still on camera, yeah.
Still on camera, you know. That's crazy, you know. But that is, again, this is another reason why we wanted you on the show, Marty. This is why we reached out, because referees, we know, are an integral part of professional wrestling.
Oh yeah,
and
huge.
You know, huge,
huge. And you know, that's the thing too. Within the last few years, that I've embraced that, man, and what I've done. You know, to have like my nephew's friends come and tell me, "Oh my God, you're fucking Marty Elias." What? I don't even fucking know you, dude. And my nephew, you know, I texted him last week. You know, Conrad, love you, kid. So he says, "We're watching your matches." What the fuck? So he sends me a photo, and they're watching the Royal Rumble 2008 from MSG. And he goes, "And you're on TV." He goes, my boys are blown away. And I went, "Well, what the fuck?" So, but it's funny because in talking to him, and this is something that I never realized, he goes, "There's millions of guys like me, my age, who know who the fuck you are." What? He goes, "The matches and those moments that you were in," you know, because he told me over Christmas, he goes, I can't believe that you know, that you're sitting in front of me. He goes, "I'm going to be honest." He goes, "I've always wanted to mark out for you and geek out." He goes, "But you were always just so cool and just down to earth at, you know, birthdays or get-togethers and shit." He goes, "I never wanted to bother you with that." And I said, "No, dude, what do you want to fucking know, man?" And that's something that it was an epiphany that, oh my God, I have those moments that these guys like yourself and my nephew have. And those are moments that are going to fucking always stick with you guys. And I never realized that, and I never embraced it, but I do today. And I'm so fucking humbled and blown away that you motherfuckers like yourselves, you know, loved what I did. And that just gives me validity to say that I did a great fucking job at what I did, and that people still remember me. And I was able to give them these moments. Was no different than Motley Crue and Kiss giving me my moments. So thank you.
Thank you, Marty. You know, I don't know if there's anything else Jordan wants to. If there's any other questions you got for Marty?
I think that's the perfect way to wrap it. I mean, apart from telling the world that, you know, you can catch Live After 3 on, sorry, it's a Joe Rogan network, but it's
platform.
It's his platform, yeah.
Yeah, Killcliff. You can go to the Killcliff TV YouTube channel, or you can go to Killcliff. You can download the app, Killcliff TV, register your email and stuff, and look up in the search engine, look for Marty Elias or Life After 3, and it's there. Brings TV, same thing. You guys can go there, and you know, you guys can actually play trivia and win some prizes and things of that nature. And you know, I'm just as happy as a pig in shit to be involved with Joe Rogan, especially right now with, you know, all the stuff that's happening with him and stuff, you know. And you know, again, this is the type of content that Joe Rogan absolutely fucking loves, and this is his MO. So to be a part of it, and again, you know, am I going to be honest? Yeah. Am I going to be transparent? Yeah. But you know, I'm going to fucking talk about myself too, and the stupid shit that I did as well, because, you know, if I don't do that, you know, will I be a fucking liar? Yeah, I'm a fucking liar, you know, but I'm not going to go that way, you know, but I'm going to talk about things about referees and what it was and what it's not. And, you know, some of the cool people that I fucking had an opportunity to work with and get to know, man. And, you know, it's something that, like I said, I have no desire to go to WWE, no desire to go to AEW or anybody else. And, you know, it's funny because people have asked me if I was going to go to MLW because they're doing the Azteca Lucha Underground. And I said, I don't need to go there. And why not, man? Because I did the original. It's real simple, man. It's real simple. You know, and people don't fucking get that. You know, I'm at peace with the business, man. I'm at peace with myself. You know, I don't need to go chase that because I already did that. You know, I love life. You know, I'm happy. I'm good, and nobody can take that away from me. So, Joe Rogan and his people at Kill Cliff, you know, Courtney, Alex, you know, all those folks. God bless you. Victory Amps. You know, those guys have given me an opportunity to fucking, you know, do the Kill Cliff thing. And you know, I wanted to be politically correct at first, but I said, no, you know what? I'm not that way, man. I'm gonna tell things the way they were and from my perspective. And you know, I'm not gonna be an evil prick and bury people. You know, I'll do it very subtly, but you know, I've had a great life and I've had a great fucking career, man, and it's not over. And the fact that I've never talked about it and really shared things and all these fucking stories, you know, with music, you know, with Dana Strum, who's my fucking mentor and fucking superhero without a cape. You know, I've known him since I was 17 years old, and I met him in LA in the 80s, man. And I still talk to him, you know, and that's why I'm where I'm at today, because I've had people like Dana Strum who have influenced me and fucking been there and really know that whenever I do something, I'm going to give you 100%. And I'm not going to fucking be lazy. I'm going to work my ass off and do more and go above and beyond, because that's my MO. And what's really cool, and I think I'll leave you guys with this, is that people can say all they want to say about WWE. They can say anything about Vince. But one of the things that I will always take with me is his fucking work ethic. Because if you can work for Vince McMahon, you can fucking work for anybody. There you go.
Perfect.
A great place to leave it.
Yeah.
And you know, you can catch Marty on Life After 3 on Kill Cliff. Check him out. There it is in the background.
That's a sweet logo, man.
Yeah, man, it's a sweet logo, and I'm sure there's going to be a fuck ton of stories. And like, you know, he's spilling the tea. He's literally just telling it how it is, how it was. And to be honest, though, Marty, I mean, they say in the wrestling business, never say never. And let's hope that sometimes someone does give you a call and say, dude, these fuckers we got here in the black and white shirts, they're not what they should be. Get down here and tell them how to fucking get it done.
You know what? I'm here with that, and just, it's not even a thought, you know, because again, it goes back to waiting for that call, one last call.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about that, man, because that's not where I'm at. Could I go do it? Fuck yeah. And I'd fucking run circles around everybody, even at fucking 54 years old, you know, I could still whoop their asses. But it's not something that I'm looking forward to, you know? And again, if I ever do anything with professional wrestling, I'm going to fucking take their money. You know, that's the old school way of doing it, you know? And there's where I'm at today. Professional wrestling, I've already gave them my fucking blood, sweat, and tears, man, for fucking years. So it's my time to fucking take their money, man. But again, nobody's going to call. Nobody's going to, because if they wanted to call, they would have called a long time ago, you know? And if I'm not good enough or have the experience or the knowledge that they're looking for, then fuck, they can go find somebody else. You know, I'm not going to go fucking crawling and go and knocking on their fucking door. Fuck, I'll go work at fucking Walmart or McDonald's, man, because that's a fucking living too, man. And that's what people don't get, man. Go make a fucking living, man. Doesn't matter how you do it, but just be a great human being and be fucking kind to people and say please and thank you at the end of the day. You know, fuck, I can go work at Walmart and fucking have a life. You know, and that's the perspective where I'm at today, is that I don't need the fucking lights and the glitz and glam of being on the fucking road. I've already done it, man. And what's really sad about it is that I gave everything to it, but I lost everything at the same time, man. So, you know, I love where I'm at. Love where I'm at.
That's great, man. And we will be checking out Life After 3. And I mean, if you've got time coming up in the future, man, we'd love to have you back on. We'll send you some bits and bobs. Maybe we can do a couple of watch-alongs or something like that. You know,
we'll keep our eye out for that book as well. You mentioned book, because I'm a bit of I'm a book nut. Like you know, my ears completely like heated up.
Hey, do me a favor, guys. When we end this, Chris, if you can, send me your guys' addresses I'll send you guys some cool fucking photos and some guitar pics and some cool Marty Elias shit, stickers and stuff.
Man,
nice.
Much appreciated, dude.
Yeah, no
Fucking
problem.
A, man. Fucking A.
Yeah.
And we've enjoyed every moment of this. It's
Thank
been
you.
incredible. Being able to chat with you, someone who, and you are imprinted in our memories. You have created those moments for us,
Yeah.
and we'll be forever grateful.
And I'm
man.
humbled.
So,
I'm humbled and fucking so grateful, you know, because that's something that I never thought about.
thanks a lot, man.
Thank
It's
you,
been
guys.
fucking
All right.
incredible.
Be blessed, guys, but be a good fucking human being at the end of the day, and you know, do well. See ya.
Thanks,
Thank you,
man.
Marty. Take care.
Take care.
Well, how do you feel, Chris? Marty Elias, just wow.
Marty fucking Elias, man. It was when and shout out again to my boy Shane. Yeah, you remember we were sitting in your flat, bruv, watching WrestleMania 25, and Marty was the referee for this for Taker versus Shawn Michaels. We were watching the match. Would we have ever dreamed that I would get to with my main man JB get to interview the referee from that fucking match, bro? Hell no. But fuck, we just did it, and it was good.
Oh man, we cannot thank Marty enough for agreeing to coming on, telling us what he's told us. Man, live. What a career he's had. Like, and it's so different to hear from. It's still inside the ring, but not be, you know, being pushed as the stars in the show. It's a view and a half, and I really hope everyone has enjoyed this.
It's a different perspective,
yeah,
for sure. From the referee's point of view, it is a completely different perspective. And I mean, fuck, listen to his podcast, Life After 3, on Killcliff. Go and check it out. I'm sure he said he's something like 5 episodes in.
It's only going to get better from there.
It's only going to get better. You know, he's just kicking off, really. And he was, you know, I love it. The fact he was talking about WWF Heat, Sunday Night Heat, and all my figures behind there, baby, are all Sunday Night Heat. That's one of the main collections that I have are my Heat figures. But yeah, man, it was fucking great. Just hearing the expanded story about Santino Marella, because obviously Anthony Corelli, our first interview with anyone in the business that we had on this channel. Shout out to Anthony Corelli, and obviously Marty just expanded that story a little bit with the with that night in Milan.
Yes, definitely. Man, what a night this was. I will say, I sincerely hope your parsnips are buttered in this.
Bro, my parsnips are fully buttered, margarined, fucking honeyed up. They are. Oh, mate,
honeyed as well, man.
Honeyed, honeyed my parsnips. We again, but oh fucking hell, we just keep doing it. We've got another couple lined up as well. Our itinerary is looking peak right now, fam.
We're not stopping.
We're not stopping, bruv. We're doing it. So if you can check us out on all various platforms that we're on, Jordan, we're on, you know, Jordan is the multimedia mogul, fam. He is on the Twitter all the time. He is nonstop on the gram. He is fucking doing that shit. He's on the Facebook,
baby.
Trust me, bruv. Chat Grapple Pops. So
Yeah.
we're on the Red Bubble as well, so you can pick up some merch. Check out the ICO Pro Jacked Awards. Bit dodgy to see it with the light, but that is the ICO Pro Jacked Awards winner hoodies that we've got out here with myself and JB's beautiful fucking mugs on there, bruv. If you want to be an ICO Pro winner,
check the links.
Shit.
We'll have all the links everywhere. Every link for, you know, for Redbubble, for, you know, subscribing, especially subscribe to this shit.
Subscribe. We need to keep pushing. Touch that bell. Slap that bell.
If you're listening on Apple, give us a 5-star. Go on.
Come on. Give us them 5-star reviews.
Hit it up. You know, push us up those charts. Push us into, like you have been already. You know, it's mad that we even get in the charts. We never thought that would even be a thing. But
we are
thank you.
humbled.
We love each and every one of you that subscribes, listens, checks it out, shares, all of that stuff. If you really want to be cool, you'll buy yourself a t-shirt with our faces on it, or just the logo, or a hat, or a wall clock,
anything,
or anything, a travel mug, all sorts of crazy shit that can, will make you look way cooler than you did like before you bought one.
Trust, bro. I mean, we are constantly amazed and humbled as if we are being fucked by the Iron Sheik. We have been fully humbled and had our backs broken by your generosity and your kind words and your interactions, the likes, the shares, and obviously as well by the fucking by the guys that we have on the show, all of the guys that we've spoken to on this podcast, all the wrestlers, and now Marty, the referee, we just anyone in the business, we are fucking fully humbled that they have given us their time for free to come on here and just chat with us. It is just, and we are talking about Joe Rogan's platform. We are the fucking Joe Rogans of wrestling interviews, bruv. The long form chats. Yeah.
I'll take the long form chat. I don't know about the rest of it right now.
We can be slightly controversial as well, but you know what I mean? The long form chats, bruv. We have these guys on and, we say, look, even an hour would be incredible, but we regularly go into 2.5, 3 hour chats with these guys, and we are fully, fully grateful and had our backs broken and humbled as if the Iron Sheik is panting behind us. So thank you again for Marty Elias for being on the show. Thank you for every other person that we've had on the show right from the beginning, which was Santino Marella, Anthony Corelli, all the way through to now. We've definitely got 2 more in the near future lined up. We've got other things waiting to come back on. We're just keeping pushing, bruv.
We keep going.
And we will get a review out soon. Will we? I don't know, bro. Maybe. We've got another review coming. We've got other bits in the pipeline. So, but until then, fucking the main man, JB.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. From myself, thank you to Marty Elias for being Marty Elias and coming on. As usual, thank you to the best Chris in all of wrestling podcasts. Take from that what you will when I say this. Anyone else that wants to, challenge me on this, come see me.
That's right.
Come see me. Roll up. Thank you to everyone that's stuck around for this. We love you all. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Peace.